Chapter 952, Lu Chuanjian. My older brother seems pretty fierce. Purple Shadow's secret realm. Ah, Daoist, spare my life. Daoist, where have we offended you? Please let us go, we'll give you everything we have. In a dense forest, piercing screams echoed. Several cultivators were seen frantically fleeing. Behind them rode a man on a giant wolf, leisurely pursuing them, occasionally releasing fireballs and wind blades. However, these fireballs and wind blades seemed to be toying with the few. The real killing intent came from above. Above the dense forest hovered a massive golden-crowned black feather eagle. On the eagle's back stood a man and a woman. The man was tall and sturdy, with a fierce and resolute face, holding a dark gold-colored great bow, drawing the bowstring towards the fleeing loose cultivators below. With a tremble of the bowstring, a blood-red arrow shot out, killing a loose cultivator below. This blood arrow seemed to have a demon nature, as its blood-red glow became even more intense after killing a person, returning to the burly man's hand. Tuoba Lai's blood feather arrow has become increasingly sharp. Now in the Purple Shadow secret realm, I'm afraid no one can withstand the might of Brother Tuoba's single arrow, said the beautiful woman next to him with sultry eyes, as if water were about to drip from her eyes. Those maniacs from the Heavenly Sword sect, and that Lu Qingshan, who was sent here earlier by a nascent soul immortal, are not to be underestimated, he said. Otherwise, why would I waste time here making arrows? The tall man, with his fierce brows and eyes gleaming with a dark golden luster like those of a hawk, was incredibly sharp. Amid his speech, he gently pulled the bowstring again, killing another person. Tuoba Lai, you madman, yelled one of the two remaining fleeing cultivators, clearly recognizing the archer. He never expected to encounter the madman of Spirit Taming Sect in the secret realm. Spirit Taming Sect, Tuoba Lai. By a large tree, Lu Chuanjian, who hid his body, watched this scene, looking up at the eagle and the man and woman. Even in his eyes, this disciple of Spirit Taming Sect named Tuoba Lai was far from ordinary. Completely incomparable to the sect disciple he had killed before from Luoxia sect. However, the other's behavior reminded him of some rumors about Spirit Taming Sect. Although the Spirit Taming Sect was a righteous sect, it bordered the Myriad Beasts mountain range, and disciples of the sect all formed contracts with demon beasts, hunting them, spending long periods mixed with the beasts, which often caused them to acquire beastly traits. Thus, many disciples of Spirit Taming Sect had a strong urge to kill, and they acted arrogantly on a normal day. Even more unscrupulous than the sword cultivators from Heavenly Sword Sect. Now, seeing the three from Spirit Taming Sect kill wantonly and take joy in slaughter, he truly understood. Even so, he had no inclination to get involved with the situation at hand. Clearly, the strength of these three were not ordinary. Unless he went all out using second-rank talismans or second-rank puppets, he would not be a match for them. But he had a contingency plan, and as disciples of Spirit Taming Sect, they definitely had their own trump cards. So naturally, he wouldn't take the risk. However, after Tuoba Lai on the eagle's back killed the cultivator who had just cursed him, his eyes gleaming with dark golden light, he suddenly turned towards the location of Lu Chuanjian. There's another one hiding here. After observing for a moment, he sneered, drew the bowstring fully, and fired at Lu Quanzhen's location. Whoosh! The blood arrow streaked like a rainbow, bursting towards Lu Quanzhen's spot. Seeking death. Lu Chuanjian immediately felt locked in by a chi mechanism, his eyes suddenly cold. S.E.A. The Novel Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. With a raise of his hand, a 5 elements colored little fish burst forth from the palm of his hand. Boom! The 5 elements colored little fish instantly collided with the blood-red arrow, triggering layers of explosive energy. Indeed not simple, remarked Lu Chuanjian, his eyes focused as he formed a gesture incantation, causing the 5 elements light to surge around the small fish, swallowing the blood-red arrow with force. Seeing the wolf-riding man nearby looking towards him, Lu Chuanjian chose not to entangle any further. He immediately executed the divine rock technique, soaring away like a sky purring, leaving a lingering image behind. Buzzing! The blood arrow continued to pulse with blood-red light, breaking through the 5 elements-colored little fish and returning back to the hands of Tuoba Lai. Which sex disciple is this man? Tuoba Lai on the eagle's back focused his eyes, feeling that his blood arrow was slightly diminished by the opponent just now. Judging by his clothing, he's not from our sex, said the beautiful woman by his side, her expression filled with surprise. She hadn't expected anyone besides the geniuses from the other 3 great immortal sects to be able to block her brother Tuoba's arrows. Interesting. Zhou Ba, don't let him escape, commanded Tuoba Lai, his eyes showing a trace of ferocity as he looked at Lu Chuanjin, who was getting away with a snarl. The blood-colored arrow continued to rest on the bowstring, his chi locked on Lu Chuanjin. The man below, who was collecting a storage bag while riding the giant wolf, upon hearing his brother's words, instantly looked towards Lu Chuanjin and patted his giant wolf. Roar! The giant wolf howled, a hurricane emerging around it as it streaked towards Lu Chuanjin. You won't let it go, will you? Lu Quanzhen's figure soared, his eyes ice-cold, as he looked back at the golden-crowned black feather eagle in the sky. If it were one-on-one, he was confident he could slay the opponent. But with 3 against 1, it would be difficult for him to approach and cut down this man named Tuoba Lai. Besides using a second-rank puppet and second-rank talisman, he couldn't think of another way to slay the opponent immediately. But he had to ensure all 3 were slain with a second-rank talisman. Otherwise, if even one managed to escape and later joined with other spirit-taming sect disciples, he would have trouble on his hands. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 953, Lu Chuanjin. My older brother seems pretty fierce. Just as Lu Chuanjin was thinking about escaping using a talisman, he suddenly realized he was not far from Lu Pingan. He alone dared not ensure the annihilation of all 3 enemies. But Lu Pingan also had a second-rank talisman in his hand. As long as Lu Pingan and he acted simultaneously, he was confident they could eliminate all 3. Immediately, Lu Quanzhen's eyes narrowed slightly, filled with killing intent as he channeled his spiritual power into his identity token, calling for Lu Pingan's help. He then flew towards the direction where Lu Pingan was located, and he held 2 second-rank talismans in his hand, waiting for the right moment. Roar! The giant wolf was very fast, relentlessly pursuing Lu Chuanjin. The golden-crowned black feather eagle in the sky was doing the same, relentlessly targeting Lu Chuanjin. At this moment, Lu Pingan was gathering spirit grass with old Daoist Kong and his grandson. It must be said, old Daoist Kong certainly had some exceptional skills in prospecting, which had yielded quite a rich harvest for Lu Pingan along the way. Although they had encountered 2 demon beasts, both were easily dealt with by Lu Pingan. Just then, an identity token appeared in Lu Pingan's hand. As he looked at the token trembling and emitting a red glow, his expression suddenly darkened, and a harsh light shone in his eyes. I have something to attend to, I'll be right back, Lu Pingan said to the 2 Daoists. As his words fell, his figure burst forth, stirring up a long trail of forceful wind and waves that whipped their robes. Has Daoist encountered some trouble? Little Kong watched the rapidly disappearing Lu Pingan, looking somewhat shocked. Just now, a token appeared in his hand. It must be a token of summoning. It seems a friend is in trouble. Let's go take a look. This Daoist is no ordinary person. If you can befriend him, there will be many benefits in the future, Old Kong immediately said. Though he had partnered with Lu Pingan partially because he recognized Lu Pingan's fighting abilities, the main reason was he saw that Lu Pingan was generous and kind-hearted, hoping his grandson could befriend him. After all, as a loose cultivator, he knew well the hardships of being one. He hoped his grandson could join a faction through Lu Pingan and follow him. ZZZT. ZZ. ZZ. Lu Pingan was very worried about Lu Quanzhen's safety and even used a Godspeed talisman on himself, boosting his speed to the extreme, making it hard to capture his movement. Had he not cultivated the 100 refinements treasure body art to the 5th layer, an ordinary energy refining cultivator wouldn't have been able to withstand such speed. Before long, Lu Pingan sensed that the qi emitted by the token was just ahead. He saw a golden-crowned black eagle hovered in the sky with two figures on it. One of them held a bow and arrow and was shooting downwards hunter style. Seeking death. Lu Pingan immediately understood the situation and roared furiously at the figures on the eagle, his voice booming like thunder exploding across the heavens. Lu Pingan was usually not inclined to fight or kill. But at that moment, seeing someone hunting his brother like prey, a surge of intense rage and killing intent filled his heart. Lu Pingan's foot tapped, and his whole body, like a ferocious dragon released from its cage, shot into the sky, his large and mighty body blasting through layers of air. Boom, boom, boom. His tall and majestic body now seemed like a rising dragon, his muscles swelling as if they were expanding, endless treasure light flowing through his body. Ha! Tuoba Lai, seeing Lu Pingan suddenly appear, was instantly on edge, sensing intense danger. But the next moment, his lips curled into a cruel smile, and he loudly said, "Very good, very good. It seems the purple shadow secret realm is truly interesting, adding much pleasure." In the same breath, a black gold sharp arrow appeared in his hand, aimed at Lu Pingan. The beautiful woman beside him was naturally not just for show. Seeing this and knowing Lu Pingan was a body cultivator wanting to get close, she immediately performed a gesture incantation, and a red luo umbrella appeared in the air, her hand supporting a law bead. Esithich. The black gold sharp arrow burst forth with a dazzling radiance, the sound of wind and thunder, shooting towards Lu Pingan's brow, aiming to kill with a single strike. Pooh, pooh, pooh. Lu Pingan pulled back his right fist as if gathering all his force and the surrounding air into his fist. A mighty black great axe emerged behind him, spanning the heavens and the earth. Split the mountain. His fist thundered out, and the great axe slashed down, unleashing an unstoppable ferocious and dominant force, annihilating everything in its path. Danger! 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 Tuoba Lai's mind sounded alarm bells of danger, feeling a cloud of lethal threat envelop him like never before. Not just him, the beautiful female cultivator beside him and the golden-crowned black feather eagle below them were enveloped by the death shadow, filled with fear. Sar the novel, F.I.R. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. They couldn't understand what was happening. Wasn't the secret realm only supposed to allow energy refining cultivators? This kind of power, and you're telling me he's an energy refining cultivator? But they didn't have time to think further, as the divine fist had already obliterated the black gold sharp arrow and was now right in front of them. Boom, boom, boom. The red luo umbrella, the body-protecting beads, the body-protecting robe, the body-protecting chi barrier, all shattered under the force of the punch, perfectly demonstrating what it means to break all laws with sheer force. At that moment, both the people and the eagle exploded into a shower of blood. This, Lu Qianxia, watching from above, was momentarily stunned and a bit confused. He hadn't even transmitted how to make their move, yet Lu Pingan had already made his. And his big brother seemed a bit fierce. Even he felt a chill in his heart facing that burst of ferocity. Lu Qianxia didn't think much further, his expression ice-cold as he looked towards the wolf rider behind him, his eyes full of murderous intent. "You've followed for so long, let's see what you've got. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 954. Lu Qianxia. My older brother seems pretty fierce. How is this possible? The man pursuing Lu Qianxia gazed at the scene above him, his complexion suddenly turning deathly pale. He had never expected that his brother Tuoba Lai would be killed by a single punch. It was known that brother Tuoba was a formidable figure within the spirit-taming sect, with an impressive combat power. But now, he had been killed by a single punch. And there was also Sister Yang and the golden-crowned black feather eagle. His face was extremely pale and full of shock. Seeing Lu Qianxia coming to kill him, he was overwhelmed with fear and wanted to run away. But his mount, the giant wolf, was startled by the recent show of force and hesitated. "Go! He hurriedly took out a talisman from his storage bag, hoping to use it to escape. But Lu Quanzhen's attack was already on the way. The Kunpeng 5 Elements technique surged like a massive wave, and the Thunder Fire talisman he had been holding was activated in an instant. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Rolling thunder and flames rushed towards Zhou Ba. In the blink of an eye, they devoured both him and the giant wolf. Qianzhen, are you okay? At that moment, Lu Pingan arrived by Lu Quanzhen's side and asked. That punch he had thrown without holding back had cost him dearly, causing his blood and qi to surge within him, leaving his face somewhat pale. I'm fine. A warm feeling arose in Lu Quanzhen's heart. He indicated that he had just been chased by 3 people and couldn't resolve the situation alone, so he had signaled for help, but he was not seriously harmed. That's good to hear. Lu Pingan said with a smile upon hearing this. I didn't expect your strength to be so astonishing, brother. Lu Qianzhen exclaimed. He felt that Lu Pingan's combat power now might be enough to challenge Lu Qingshan. However, he could tell that the price Lu Pingan paid for that punch was not small. It's all right, I've always been unclear about my own strength, as I've never used my full force before. Lu Pingan shook his head. After breaking through the 5th layer of the 100 Refinements treasure body art, he had slain a few parasitic cultivators. Then on the way to the Purple Shadow secret realm, he killed a few energy refining robbery cultivators. So he wasn't quite sure about his own combat power. He only knew that his strength was not inferior to a 9th level energy refinement. These few seem quite wealthy. It's been a substantial haul. Lu Qianzhen picked up a pile of storage bags and magic artifacts from the shredded magical robe of the wolf-mounted man. The 3 had hunted down many cultivators, resulting in more than a dozen storage bags. Then he and Lu Pingan picked up all the magic artifacts and storage bags from Tuoba Lai and the female cultivator. Among these magic artifacts, the red Luo umbrella was severely damaged under Lu Pingan's punch. The other artifacts were relatively undamaged. Lu Qianzhen handed these storage bags to Lu Pingan and then picked up Tuoba Lai's black gold great bow to examine. He could tell that it was a top-tier, top-grade magic artifact. Brother, this bow is pretty good. I think it suits you. Lu Qianzhen handed the black gold great bow to Lu Pingan, saying so. Bow and arrow artifacts like this require not only mana but also physical strength. Indeed, it's pretty nice, but my archery skills are just average, and I haven't practiced in a long time. Lu Pingan took the bow, attempting to draw it into a full moon. Brother, let's find a place to rest first. Once we're ready, we'll head straight to the central area. Lu Qianzhen suggested. He had originally planned to train around the periphery. But through several bouts, he had gained a rough understanding of his own capabilities. Knowing that staying on the fringes was pointless, he prepared to head straight for the center. Okay. Lu Pingan nodded in agreement. At that moment, a chill crossed Lu Quanzhen's eyes as he looked to the side. He saw an old Daoist and a young man cautiously approaching. His palm rose lightly, ready to strike. Qianzhen, these are friends I met on the way. Lu Pingan quickly called out upon seeing this. Brethren, I saw you were in a hurried state earlier, so I followed you here, wondering if I could be of any help. Old Daoist Kong immediately spoke up. He had sensed the astonishing commotion here earlier. Seeing the ashes and artifacts on the ground, he could roughly guess what had happened, fearing that the 2 might kill to silence witnesses. After all, the Lu Pingan before him seemed like a kind and generous man. But the Lu Qianzhen before him was different. Just now, he distinctly felt a murderous intent from Lu Qianzhen. Daoist Kong, young Daoist Kong, I am preparing to head to the central area of the secret realm, so I won't be able to journey with you both. I'm truly sorry, Lu Pingan said with an apologetic expression. It's fine. We've already benefited from Brother An's company along the way. If that is the case, brother An, take care on your journey. Old Daoist Kong made a bowing gesture with his hands. Brother An, take care. Young Kong next to him said also, feeling somewhat regretful. After all, traveling with Lu Pingan provided not only safety but also potential for considerable gains. Brother, let's go. Without further words, Lu Chuanjin packed up their findings and left with Lu Pingon. They found a secluded spot, set up a formation, and allowed Lu Pingon to recuperate before heading to the central area. Alas, such flood dragons are beyond us loose cultivators to befriend. Simply having acquainted with them is already great luck. Old Daoist Kong watched the two leave and sighed with a bit of regret to his grandson. He had thought of befriending them to help his grandson. But now he knew that they were completely unmatched. SEA the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Unless he and his grandson were strong enough and daring enough to go with them to the center and then come out alive. Grandfather, rest assured, I will surely break through to the Foundation establishment in the future. I won't disappoint you. Young Kong took a deep breath, speaking earnestly. He knew his grandfather was striving so hard at his age, entirely for him. Otherwise, he could comfortably serve as a visiting noble servant in a small family based on his skills, enjoying his later years. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 955. Purple Shadow Mountain, Golden Bodhi Date. Outside the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. The expression of a nascent soul immortal from the spirit-taming sect suddenly turned grim. Whenever they sent disciples to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm for training, they would bring along their soul plates to confirm any deaths within the realm. After all, these disciples were not all unparalleled geniuses, but each could be considered outstanding. If there was a widespread occurrence of death, it would suggest a special situation had arisen, and they would have to take measures to terminate the venture into the secret realm. Right now, although there hadn't been a mass fatality, just now, 3 soul plates in his storage bag had shattered at around the same time. Such an incident was extremely rare. The deaths of 3 disciples at almost the same time suggested a high probability they encountered danger together. Now should not yet be the time to reach the central area. How could, and among these 3 soul plates, this Toba Lai I remember has divine power, strength out of the ordinary. The face of the nascent soul immortal from the spirit-taming sect was grave. What is it, Black Wind Immortal? Could it be that a disciple of your sect encountered some accidents in the secret realm? The nearby Qingyun sect immortal, stroking his beard, said with a smile. This immortal merely thought of some matters. The spirit-taming sect immortal stood with his hands behind his back, speaking without any niceties. Though the Purple Shadow Secret Realm was merely a training ground, it still held some competitive significance for the 4 great immortal sects. Therefore, even if his own disciples had just died, he wouldn't admit it, for fear of losing face. After all, it was just 3 disciples. The final outcome depended on who would have the last laugh. Oh, since we're idly waiting, Blackwind Immortal, would you be interested in making a bet? The Qingyun sect immortal said with an unchanged smile. At their level, heavenly and earthly treasures of use were very rare and difficult to purchase with spirit stones. So they often bartered or traded for them. Seeing an opportunity now, he naturally thought of securing some benefit through this method. Since Immortal Li is interested, this immortal will naturally oblige. The spirit-taming sect immortal said, "There's a saying, one may lose but should never lose face." If he were to refuse, it would appear as though he were afraid of the opponent. Moreover, he had some confidence in his own disciples. After all, the disciples of the spirit-taming sect were battle-hardened, incomparable to those from Qingyun and Luoxia sects. The recent 3 likely encountered some unforeseen circumstances. I wonder how Pingon, Chuanjin, and Qingshan are doing right now. Sir the Nellfire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Changsheng sat cross-legged at a distance, his expression very calm. With the Lu family genealogy, he was clearly aware of his children's life and death status. He couldn't help but feel a bit worried seeing the occasional Foundation establishment cultivator's expression suddenly change drastically. However, seeing the calm and composed expression of the Foundation establishment cultivators from Golden Dragon Ridge, he guessed that Lu Chuanjin hadn't run into a disciple of the Jin family. This made Lu Changxing think that he could judge his son's situation through the expressions of those from the Jin family. In the purple shadow secret realm, within a dense forest. T.S. This person really had a backup plan. Lu Chuanjun was sorting through the storage bags he had obtained and couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder upon seeing a talisman treasure inside Oba Lai's storage bag. However, this was also because the person was too arrogant, and Lu Pingan's combat power was surprisingly formidable. Under normal circumstances, who would have thought that an energy-refining cultivator could be so fierce in battle? Lu Chuanjun had once participated in the battle at White Tiger Mountain and was aware of the strength of Foundation establishment. Lu Pingan's punch was not inferior to that of his Uncle Li's offensive moves, even possibly surpassing them. In such a fleeting moment, the opponent had no chance to respond at all. Unless the person alongside the woman had defended with full power from the start or deployed the talisman treasure, it would have been a dead end all the same. But how could someone as unbending and unruly as Oba Lai confront someone with full force right from the beginning? This served as a reminder to Lu Chuanjun not to underestimate anyone in the world. With the outcome of life and death undecided, one can never truly know the strength of an opponent. Just like his sister Lu Wangshu, who had just come of age. A 5th-level energy-refining cultivator, yet she was able to produce dozens of talismans, including second-rank talismans, and set up a talisman formation. Had one underestimated and belittled her, even a peak energy-refining cultivator might have died at her hands. My family's situation seems a bit too astonishing, doesn't it? At that moment, Lu Chuanjun suddenly realized that his family's situation seemed a bit exaggerated. Whether it was the brother beside him, his brother Lu Qingshan who had recently returned home, or his sister Lu Wangshu who had just reached adulthood, any one of them could be called a genius. Placed in any other Foundation establishment family, each would be considered a top-tier seed that could lead the family to greater heights. Yet his own family had 3 such individuals in just a few years. If it weren't for his encounter with his uncle, he wouldn't be able to hold a candle to the 3 of them. Plus, he remembered there were a few siblings at home with quite rapid cultivation speeds who hadn't participated in the family's spirit testing ceremony at the age of 6. Lu Quanzhen's eyes showed a thoughtful expression. He shook his head, not thinking further, and finished sorting through the 13 storage bags he had collected. There weren't many spirit stones inside, totaling less than 1,000 in all. But there were 33 magic artifacts. 6 middle grade, 19 high quality, and 8 top grade magic artifacts. It just goes to show that everyone entering the Purple Shadow secret realm would use their spirit stones to purchase magic artifacts, elixir medicines, talismans, and so on. Besides the magic artifacts, other gains were mainly spiritual herbs and medicines. Lu Chuanjun made a rough estimate. The gains from slaying these 3 individuals amounted to roughly 20 to 30,000 spirit stones. Phew! At that moment, Lu Pingan opened his eyes and exhaled a breath of turbid energy. He was only grappling with the shock to his vitality, and with the use of elixir medicines, it wouldn't take long for him to recover. Big brother, I just sorted through these storage bags. You can make use of these magic artifacts. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 956, Purple Shadow Mountain, Golden Bodhi Date. Lu Chuanjun spoke out. Okay, Chuanjun, you've worked hard. Lu Pingan glanced at him and said with a smile. When he took over the magic artifact, he asked, Are these few magic artifacts just taken from the disciples of the spirit taming sect? Don't worry, brother, they are not from the 3 spirit taming sect cultivators just now. Lu Chuanjun laughed lightly, knowing that Lu Pingan was concerned that the magic artifacts might bring trouble. He had naturally considered this aspect a long time ago. Hearing this, Lu Pingan then put on a pair of silver-lined black boots, wore a magic bracelet on his hand, and hung a jade pendant on his waist. Immediately, the 2 brothers rose into the air with their artifacts and observed their rough location. Seeing a purple ring-shaped mountain peak in the distance, shrouded in mist and reaching straight into the clouds, They knew that this direction led to the central area of the Purple Shadow's secret realm, the Purple Shadow Mountain. The two brothers immediately headed in that direction. Meanwhile, in the secret realm, many family disciples had gathered together or formed alliances with others, baring their fangs and engaging in a massive cleanse against solitary loose cultivators. This situation grew more severe the closer one got to the central region, with killings becoming increasingly frequent. Occasionally, when cultivators from the immortal sects, family disciples, or powerful loose cultivators encountered one another, they would tacitly pass by without conflict, or keep it limited to minor skirmishes. After all, it wasn't time for them to engage in deadly struggles over treasures yet. Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjin, the two brothers, were also among the solitary loose cultivators. But they were different from other opportunistic cultivators who came to try their luck in the chaos in hopes of striking it big. The two belonged to the top of the food chain among cultivators in this secret realm. As they traveled, whenever they encountered a cultivator with malicious intentions, Lu Chuanjin would show no mercy and strike to kill without hesitation. Although Lu Pingan was reluctant to kill indiscriminately, he knew that this was the norm upon entering a secret realm. If there were few enemies, he would support his brother from the rear. But if there were many, the brothers would join forces, aiming for quick and decisive battles. Along the way, the strength of the two brothers was formidable, yielding plentiful rewards, so that Lu Pingan even had an extra bundle on his shoulder. This bundle was full of storage bags. After all, storage bags couldn't be put into other storage bags. Discarding so many storage bags would be too wasteful. Thus, Lu Pingan wrapped them up with a magical robe and carried them on his shoulder. In this manner, after several days of travel, the two were finally able to clearly see the ring-shaped mountain peak ahead. The mountain soared into the clouds, thousands of feet high, with steep terrain, sheer cliffs and precipices, covered with bizarre rocks and ancient trees towering into the sky, all shrouded in rolling purple mist, hazy and obscure. Heavenly spirit fruits and other rare and exotic herbs, heavenly and earthly treasures, were all within this Purple Shadow Mountain. Big brother, this Purple Shadow Mountain is blocked by mist that affects the mental spirit and consciousness. You should wear the spiritual armor to prevent accidents, said Lu Chuanjin to Lu Pingan. The mist of Purple Shadow Mountain was very thick. Once inside, even cultivators could easily become lost and needed to explore step by step carefully. Moreover, the demon beasts of the Purple Shadow secret realm were mainly concentrated in this Purple Shadow Mountain. A moment of carelessness could result in a sudden attack, catching one completely off guard. Lu Pingan had previously thought the spiritual armor was too ostentatious, so he only wore a simple green vestment robe. Hearing Lu Quanzhen's words now, he nodded and replied, "Okay." This suit of spiritual armor was obtained from White Tiger Mountain and was given to Lu Chuanjin by Lu Chongxing. It was dark gold all over, with elegant lines, a cold metallic luster, and a pair of dark gold battle boots. With his tall and imposing stature, Lu Pingan, now clad in dark gold armor, looked like a mighty general, possessing an air of dominance. "This suit of spiritual armor does indeed suit you very well, big brother," said Lu Chuanjin. "Hee." Lu Pingan simply grinned and touched the spiritual armor, feeling quite fond of it. Indeed, it was an excellent piece of armor, but its appearance was too conspicuous, making it easy to attract attention wherever one went. The two arrived at the foot of Purple Shadow Mountain, and not far away, a team of 5 people also approached. But both parties merely glanced at each other before climbing the mountain from different directions. After all, it was quite an achievement to have reached the foot of the mountain at this time. Without conflicting interests, there was no need to waste mana fighting a life and death battle. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Just as they began ascending the mountain, suddenly, a number of inch-long shadows streaked through the lush jungle, coming at them with extreme speed. "Be careful!" Lu Pingan's expression darkened, his blood and energy roared within as his hands clenched into fists and he struck out fiercely, causing the dark gold armor to shine with dazzling brilliance. Bang bang bang! The shadows burst open one after another, scattering black blood that caused the vegetation on the ground to corrode and wither. "Big brother, are you okay?" Lu Chuanjun recognized them as black blood snakes, which were not very powerful, but their blood contained lethal poison. Fine, Lu Pingan said with a laugh, his fists radiating treasure light and unaffected by the corrosive blood of the black blood snakes. His 100 refinements treasure body art had rendered his body akin to a spiritual artifact. CTH Novelfire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Moreover, ever since the entry of 2 poisonous creatures into his body, increasing his poison resistance significantly after his treasure body technique broke through to the 5th layer. Saying that he was impervious to all poisons was no exaggeration. Tisk. Lu Chuanjun clicked his tongue with a hint of admiration, finding the body refinement technique to be incredibly domineering and well-suited for exploring secret realms. Had it been an ordinary energy-refining cultivator or himself who had come into contact with the black blood snake's blood, they would likely have needed to deal with the wound immediately, then take a detoxification pill to expel the poison and heal. The two did not linger and quickly left the site. There were many demon beasts in Purple Shadow Mountain, and once the smell of blood spread, it could easily attract beasts with a keen sense of smell. If they fought with demon beasts, they might attract the attention of other cultivators with harmful intentions. It must be said that there were indeed many demon beasts in Purple Shadow Mountain. After traveling for several hours, the two hadn't gathered much precious spiritual medicine, but they had already encountered 5 or 6 waves of demon beasts. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 957, Purple Shadow Mountain, Golden Bodhi Date. Throughout, they also heard many sounds of demon beasts fighting. Roar. Suddenly, a tremendous roar came from the side, and they saw a gray giant ape charging towards Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjun. It moved quickly with long arms, pouncing directly with its fingers like sharp iron hooks. Lu Pingan's fist shone with a faint golden luster as he struck forward. Boom! Fist and claw collided, sounding like metal striking metal, extremely harsh to the ears. The gray giant ape instantly let out a pained wail, flew backward, its nails broken, its arms spasming. What kind of demon beast is this, with such an extraordinary physical body? Lu Chuanjun looked somewhat astonished. Through their time together, he had come to deeply understand the strength of his elder brother's physical body. Literally a humanoid demon beast. No, more like a fierce beast among demon beasts. Even cultivators knew not to let Lu Pingan get close. But demon beasts were always eager to charge head-on. So facing this kind, Lu Pingan usually ended the fight with just 1 or 2 punches. Like this giant ape, to suffer only arm spasms from one of Lu Pingan's punches, without even fracturing bones, was quite impressive. Roar! The gray giant ape let out a roar of agony, clenching its fist and charging at Lu Pingan again, its fist gleaming with a black gold sheen. Bang! Lu Pingan met it with a massively powerful counterstrike. On this punch, the giant ape screamed in pain, its fist torn apart, its arms' bones shattered, oozing black blood. It now looked terrified and afraid in its eyes, and immediately began to flee in a frenzy. Elder brother, chase. Lu Chuanjun immediately said. Powerful demon beasts like this often possessed fortunes. After all, not only cultivators consume spiritual medicines and herbs, but demon beasts do the same. This giant ape was clearly extraordinary, obviously having some fortune on its side. If they could find its lair, there must be certain rewards. In an instant, both men chased after the giant ape. The giant ape was extremely fast, leaping 100 steps through the air in one bound. If not for Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjun being extraordinary themselves, they might not have been able to catch up at all. Although Lu Pingan was capable of overtaking and killing it, upon hearing Lu Quanzhen's words, he held back and pursued doggedly. Moments later, they arrived at a cliff steep. They saw the agile silhouette of the giant ape leap, jumping directly off the cliff, disappearing without a trace. Ha! Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjun noticed a stone cave at the bottom of the cliff, which likely was the giant ape's nest. After exchanging a glance, They immediately activated their cultivation techniques, creating a protective aura around them, and entered the stone cave. Illusion Heart Grass. Just at the entrance of the cave, Lu Chuanjian spotted some dimly misty herbs, crystal clear and emitting a strong fragrance. This was one of the main auxiliary ingredients for the Foundation Establishment Elixir, very valuable. And here they discovered more than 10 of them. Seeing this, Lu Pingan also couldn't help but lick his lips, his face showing delight. So much spirit grass could easily be worth tens of thousands of spirit stones. However, the two didn't immediately pick the illusion heart grass but instead rushed deeper into the cave. This is the golden Bodhi date? The two reached the depths of the cave and immediately saw the gray giant ape approach a gold-colored tree, half a meter tall, about to pick and eat the dates from it. Seeing the two pursuing it, the gray giant ape, after swallowing a fruit, glared fiercely and charged towards Lu Quan. It was because it had always been hit by Lu Pingan and was somewhat afraid. Facing this situation, Lu Pingan took a step forward. His chest braced against 2 punches from the giant ape, causing sparks to fly from the spiritual armor, clanging with each impact, and then his fist, shining with a golden light, gathered strength and erupted. Bang! That punch directly blasted into the giant ape's skull, exploding its head like a watermelon, splattering brains and blood. After a cleansing technique cleared away the gore, Lu Pingan, his face full of joy, turned to the small tree beside the ape's corpse, golden Bodhi date. The small tree had several branches and was full of golden leaves, each bearing yellow dates the size of thumbs. These golden Bodhi dates were one of the spiritual medicines that must be traded with the 4 great immortal sects. The specific uses Lu Pingan did not know. He had only seen this golden date on the list, very precious. Quan, what are these golden Bodhi dates used for? He asked his brother. I'm not too sure, I only know that if you have injuries, the golden Bodhi date can heal them. If not, it can purify the physical body and improve one's cultivation level. This gray giant ape has such strength. It must have consumed these golden Bodhi dates. Lu Quan shook his head, not knowing the uses of the golden Bodhi dates. After all, the uses of most spiritual medicines and elixir recipes are forbidden secrets, seldom revealed. With a somewhat regretful look, he said, "But these golden Bodhi dates don't seem to be mature yet. Indeed, it's a pity." Lu Pingan nodded in disappointment, then grinned. However, Dad said that for such rare spiritual plants, one can uproot them and bring them home. It'll be hard to cultivate and keep this golden Bodhi date tree alive at home. Lu Quan shook his head. As they spoke, he picked a golden Bodhi date, carefully examined it in his hand for a moment, and then tentatively bit a piece of the fruit to taste. Although such rare spiritual medicines must be traded with the great immortal sects, Sarch * the Nellfire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. It wasn't stipulated that they couldn't consume the spiritual medicine themselves within the secret realm. Given the golden Bodhi date's effect on improving cultivation, he naturally wanted to see how effective it was. After all, while submitting spiritual medicines yielded many spirit stones, there was nothing like improving oneself. Hiss! Lu Quan had just eaten a bit of the fruit when his body suddenly trembled violently, a powerful and overwhelming energy surging through his limbs and body. Quan! Lu Pingan immediately expressed his concern. 5 elements Kunping technique. Lu Quan promptly sat down, channeling his cultivation technique to refine this energy, feeling it continuously flow within his body, slowly refining his muscles and increasing his cultivation and magical power. This golden Bodhi date's effect is so domineering. If I hadn't consumed the dragon scale fruit and practiced the 5 elements Kunping technique, it would be difficult to refine this for an ordinary energy refining cultivator, Lu Quan muttered in his heart. He could feel that not only had his cultivation levels slightly increased, but his physical body had also undergone a wondrous purification. Indeed, the golden Bodhi date, being one of the spiritual medicines that must be submitted, truly was extraordinary. He immediately said to Lu Pingan, "Big brother, the golden Bodhi date can purify the physical body. You should try consuming more, it will be beneficial for you." Aren't we supposed to submit these? Lu Pingan paused, feeling it would be a waste to eat it himself. One reason was that submitting the golden Bodhi dates would yield a good amount of spirit stones. Another was that the books mentioned that consuming heavenly spirit medicine directly is a waste, less than 1/3 as effective as formulated elixir medicines. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 958, Heavenly Spirit Fruit, Go All Out. These golden Bodhi dates are not yet ripe, and there's not much profit in turning them over to the sect. We've already gained a lot this trip, around 40 to 50,000 spirit stones. We're not short on such items. It's better to improve ourselves. Lu Chuanjin knew his elder brother was of a thrifty nature and said with a smile, "Ah, we gained that many spirit stones?" Lu Pingan expressed his amazement. Although he knew that they had reaped quite a bounty, he had not yet accounted for it specifically. The figure took him by surprise. After all, before coming to the Purple Shadow secret realm, his entire fortune was just over 100 spirit stones. In order to expedite his journey, he had spent 38 spirit stones to purchase a spirit steed, which had died en route, causing him grief for quite some time. That's right, so Big Brother need not worry about waste. Moreover, there's still much to explore in the secret realm. If you improve your strength now, you can harvest even more later. Lu Chuanjin advised, handing over 2 golden Bodhi dates to Lu Pingan. This golden Bodhi date has a very domineering medicinal effect. Big Brother, just be a little careful. Although the other's physical body was extraordinary, he still cared to give a reminder. Afterward, he bit off a piece of the golden Bodhi date in his hand and slowly refined it. All right. Upon hearing this, Lu Pingan didn't fuss and bit off half a golden Bodhi date. The fruit flesh melted upon entering his mouth. It was likely not fully ripe yet, so there was a strong bitter taste. However, this mixture of sour and bitter sweetness immediately transformed into an overwhelming and domineering power surging towards his limbs and bones. Although the force was domineering, Lu Pingan's body had indeed undergone 100 refinements. He quickly cycled through the 100 refinements treasure body art to refine this medicinal power. After a long time, Lu Pingan managed to refine the medicinal power of half a golden Bodhi date, slightly furrowed his brow, and felt the condition of his physical body. During the baptism process just now, he faintly sensed that the medicinal power seemed to penetrate into the flesh and marrow of the bones. After pondering for a moment, looking at the 1.5 golden Bodhi dates in his hand, he directly swallowed them. Boom! Instantaneously, Lu Pingan felt as if struck by lightning. The golden Bodhi date transformed into an overwhelming, domineering force raging through his flesh, meridians, limbs, and bones. His heart thumped vigorously, his blood roared like a river, and his internal organs resounded like a gong. Lu Chuanjin opened his eyes immediately upon hearing this commotion. Seeing his big brother's face contorted with pain and his body like a blazing furnace, robust vitality and might burst forth from within, ferocious and pressing. What's happening? Lu Chuanjin was astonished. How had his brother become like this in the blink of an eye? He immediately noticed that the golden Bodhi date in Lu Pingan's hand had been eaten, and his expression changed slightly as he guessed what happened. The medicinal power of the golden Bodhi date was extremely domineering. He had only consumed 1/3 of one. Eating too much could lead to an overbearing effect, making it hard to refine and possibly damaging oneself. Now, Lu Pingan had eaten 2 golden Bodhi dates right away. However, Lu Chuanjin knew his big brother's character was steady and wouldn't act rashly. He immediately acted as a protector and quietly observed Lu Pingan's condition. After a long while, Lu Pingan's surging vitality gradually retracted. He opened his eyes, exhaled a breath of turbid energy, and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Big brother, what was that? Lu Chuanjin asked with concern. Chuanjin, during the baptism of the physical body just now, I felt that the golden Bodhi date could penetrate the bones and marrow, eliminating impurities from the flesh and bones, achieving a true marrow cleansing transformation. But the medicinal effect of half a golden Bodhi date wasn't enough, so I just tried it out. If one consumes multiple dates at once, and the medicinal power is sufficient, then it can penetrate into the flesh and marrow. Lu Pingan said with a smile on his face. Because he practiced martial arts and body refinement constantly, he had a nuanced control over his physical body. After consuming half a golden Bodhi date, he had keenly sensed part of its effects, so he attempted to swallow a date and a half. CTH Novelfire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Following the baptism, the effect was indeed as he had surmised, with advances in both meridians and bones as well as internal organs. Moreover, it also stimulated the condensing of magical treasures, which were used to enhance the 100 Refinements treasure body art. Of course, he dared to do this because he was confident. By using the domineering medicinal power to enter the flesh and marrow, thus achieving a true marrow-cleansing transformation, Lu Chuanjin suddenly understood the principle. But he knew that this process was very painful and dangerous. If one wasn't careful enough to withstand the refining of such formidable medicinal power, their meridians and bones might shatter due to the violent medicinal force. They'll try it. Lu Chuanjin, looking at the remaining more than half of the golden Bodhi date in his hand, swallowed it. In an instant, the violent medicinal power forced him to groan in pain, his facial features twisted. Pain, pain, pain. As Lu Pingan had said, the domineering medicinal power would penetrate deep into the flesh and bones. But similarly, it was excruciating. He swiftly endured the pain and circulated the 5 elements Kunping technique to refine the medicinal power. Yet, the surging and violent medicinal power still made his body tremble as if undergoing spasms. After a moment, the medicinal power gradually subsided. After a long time, Lu Chuanjin opened his eyes to assess his condition. The primary effect seemed to be the advancement of his cultivation level, and there was some effect on the refinement of the physical body, but it wasn't significant. Is it that the medicinal power is insufficient, or because I had previously consumed the dragon scale fruit? Lu Chuanjin frowned slightly and pondered. Years ago, his uncle Chu Chang'e returned and had given him 2 dragon scale fruits. Those 2 dragon scale fruits had caused his entire being inside and out to undergo 2 transformative baptisms like rebirths, establishing a robust foundation. He looked towards Lu Pingan and said, "Big brother, I had a chance earlier, and this golden Bodhi date doesn't have much effect on me. You should consume them all." Continuing to consume golden Bodhi dates might be effective, but the results would be mediocre. Besides, if he consumed an entire golden Bodhi date outright, he might need a long time to recuperate before he could consume a second one. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 959. Heavenly Spirit Fruit, Go All Out. The situation was clearly not suitable now. "It's okay, I don't need so much." Lu Pingan thought the other was offering it to him, so he quickly waved his hands. Lu Chuanjin naturally saw the implication and affirmed that he really did not need them, as he had consumed such heavenly and earthly treasures in earlier years. Moreover, his physical body was only average, and consuming too much medicine might be too fierce, possibly requiring healing. Hearing this, Lu Pingan finally nodded, plucked 3 golden Bodhi dates from the nearby tree, and swallowed them whole. Lu Chuanjin saw Lu Pingan's muscles swell and his bones clank, but he only grunted in pain. He couldn't help but feel impressed by his brother's tough character. He went to a cave nearby, carefully picked 13 illusion heart grasses, and put them into the spirit plant bag. This spirit plant bag was an exquisite one prepared in advance by Lu Changxing. It could maintain the spirit and activity of spiritual herbs and medicines. Otherwise, such spirit grass would need to be stored in a special jade box. Otherwise, their spirit would gradually deteriorate. Lu Chuanjin then took an array device from his storage bag and set it up at the entrance of the cave. Although the cave was hard to find, one could never be too careful. After completing this, he calmly waited for Lu Pingan to refine all the golden Bodhi dates. At this moment, in a valley to the southeast of Purple Shadow Mountain, 2 factions were in a deadlock over 3 spirit flowers about half a meter tall, with glowing green bodies and thick stems, exuding a rich scent of life. The flowers proudly stood alone with fist-sized, jade-green fruits inside them, shimmering with a purple luster and releasing a refreshing fragrance. This flower is called the Heavenly Spirit Flower, and the fruit it bore was the main ingredient for the Foundation Establishment Elixir, known as the Heavenly Spirit Fruit. The Thunderhorn Lion was slain by the four of us. The Heavenly Spirit Fruit should rightfully belong to us. For the sake of Wuxia Sect's face, we are willing to concede one fruit, which is already a step back. Don't be too greedy. A 40-something blue-robed man wielding a knife and holding a magic pearl spoke. He and four others, armed with magic artifacts, formed a formation and faced 3 Wuxia Sect disciples ahead. Humph, seeing that the Thunderhorn Lion was killed by you, giving you one fruit is already generous of us. Don't reject the wine only to be forced to drink the penalties. Wuxia Sect coldly replied. While they only had 3 people, the trio faced down 5, their aura even overpowering the opposition. The Heavenly Spirit Fruit? Just then, a voice came from not far. Moments later, a youth in a white golden robe with sword-like eyebrows, handsome features, and an upright posture approached. He looked ahead at the standoff. Not far from the 2 parties, a purple lion lay in pieces, its blood mingling to form pools. Near the pool of blood, there were 3 glowing green spirit flowers about half a meter tall, bearing fruits. Indeed, they are heavenly spirit fruits. Since there are 3, and you can't divide them equally, me taking one would be just right. This youth was none other than Lu Qingshan. He looked at the standoff between the 2 parties, his expression indifferent, and spoke lightly. These calm words, plain to the ears of the 7 individuals present, seemed domineering and unquestionable. Lu Qingshan. 3 from Wuxia Sect immediately recognized Lu Qingshan, remembering when he introduced himself while Tianyuan True Immortal visited with disciples from the 4 great immortal sects. Lu Qingshan, you are being too overbearing, wanting to take one heavenly spirit fruit for yourself. Sar the Nelfire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. A Wuxia Sect disciple spoke out. As Lu Qingshan was a disciple of a nascent soul immortal, they naturally didn't dare underestimate him, but to lightly declare taking a heavenly spirit fruit, they felt utterly disregarded. Moreover, their elders had instructed them to not lose face against this Lu Qingshan. Swoosh! The response was a dazzling sword light. Boom! This Wuxia Sect disciple immediately unleashed a magical shield to block the sword light. Under the assault of the sword light, the shield's spiritual light dimmed, causing him to stagger back several steps. Do you have an objection? Lu Qingshan's expression turned frosty, revealing a sharp edge, as his magical sword hummed threateningly in his hand, as if brewing some terrifying sword intent. Seeing this, the 5 clan cultivators nearby were taken aback. They hadn't expected Lu Qingshan to be so overbearing, attacking the 3 from Wuxia Sect by himself. Moreover, with just a casual sword, he forced one person back, showing terrifying strength that was not at their level at all. Such an individual must be a true genius of the immortal sects, a nascent soul seed. They exchanged glances and immediately said, if this Daoist wants one heavenly spirit fruit, the 5 of us have no objections. Given the situation, if the standoff continued and attracted others, it wouldn't end well for any of them. It was better to show goodwill and voluntarily give up a fruit. Upon hearing this, the 3 from Wuxia Sect remained silent. From just that simple sword strike, they recognized Lu Qingshan's astonishing strength. If a real fight ensued, neither side would benefit. Thus, the 5 closest to the heavenly spirit flower picked one fruit, then slowly retreated and left. Seeing this, the Wuxia Sect disciples also snorted coldly, grabbed a spirit fruit, and left. Not even taking the flowers makes it easier for me. Lu Qingshan saw both parties take the fruits but leave the flowers. He chuckled. He immediately uprooted the 3 heavenly spirit flowers and placed them in a spirit plant bag. After all, his father had told him that when encountering rare spiritual medicines, one should take them roots and all, especially the heavenly spirit flowers. Although heavenly spirit flowers are hard to grow and fruit in the outside world, since his father had said so, he naturally took it along without hesitation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 960, Heavenly Spirit Fruit, Go All Out. Perhaps his own father really had the ability to cultivate the heavenly spirit fruit. After finishing his task, Lu Qingshan took out a palm-sized, endearing golden hamster from his sleeve, gently massaged it, and signaled it to continue. This golden hamster was none other than the earth spirit mouse that Lu Chongxing had given to his daughter, Lu Qingzhu, in his early years. Now coming to the Purple Shadow secret realm, Lu Qingshan naturally brought this earth spirit mouse with him. After all, second-order spiritual beasts couldn't enter the secret realm, but there was no problem with first-order ones. And his journey so far had been exceedingly fruitful, in part because he simply went wherever there was a disturbance. On the other hand, it was due to this earth spirit mouse's sensitivity to heavenly and earthly treasures. Indeed, treasure-seeking mice like the earth spirit mouse were like a fish in water within the secret realm. Search * the novel of Ire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. According to records, there is a hidden cave here with a golden Bodhi date tree. At this moment, 4 individuals clad in beast-taming Sioux family garments arrived near a cliff face. The 4 great immortal sects and several nascent soul family forces would usually enter the Purple Shadow secret realm every time it opened and always came away with gains. Hence, for the common loose cultivators and clan cultivators, the mysterious and dangerous Purple Shadow secret realm was quite familiar. They not only had rough maps but also knew about the locations that produced spiritual medicine. Every disciple from the immortal sects and clan cultivators who entered the secret realm would try to visit these places in hopes of finding something valuable. The 4 people searched around the cliff. However, after searching for a long time, they didn't find the hidden cave mentioned in the records. Then, one of the female cultivators patted her spiritual pet bag and released a silver ferret. Families like the beast-taming Sioux family, which specialized in beast taming, would naturally breed a number of demon beasts adept at treasure hunting. This silver ferret was one such demon beast. The female cultivator took out a few feeding spirit pills from her storage bag, fed the silver ferret, stroked its small head, and then sent it off to search. Before long, the ferret started giggling, pointing its front paw toward the cliff ahead. "Huh!" The 4 people gazed at the cliff before them, exchanged glances, and seemed puzzled. One of them shot a flame bullet technique directly at the cliff. The cliff didn't explode with a bang upon facing the flame bullet, but merely rippled, dissolving the flame bullet. Formation. It turns out someone reached here first and set up an illusory formation. No wonder we've been searching for so long and haven't found it. Whoever set up the formation must have seen the golden Bodhi date tree and planned to wait until the secret realm closed to leave. Upon witnessing this, the 4 of them immediately understood the situation. Looking at the cliff in front of them, they all took out their magic artifacts, released their spiritual beasts, and prepared to break the formation. After all, disciples entering the secret realm from the great immortal sects and the children of great families would try their best to find heavenly and earthly treasures. Setting up a formation like this and hiding in a cave would most likely belong to a loose cultivator or a junior member of a smaller family. Facing such loose cultivators or junior family members, they were naturally fearless. Seems it has been discovered after all. Inside the cave, Lu Qianxia let out a soft sigh. He had heard the commotion outside just now and knew someone had found the place. But his elder brother, Lu Pingan, was still refining the golden Bodhi date, so he stayed silent, hoping to mislead them with the formation. But after the recent flame bullet technique and seeing the attitude of the people outside, he knew a confrontation was imminent. Beast-taming Sioux family. Lu Qianxia, looking through the formation, recognized the clothes of the 4 people outside, knowing their identities and that they were formidable. Person inside, I'm going to count to 3, come out now. At that moment, a voice from outside rang out. Hearing this voice, Lu Quanzhen's eyes flashed coldly. He glanced at Lu Pingon deep in the cave and spoke in a calm tone. "Big brother, someone's coming. I'll go and send them away." At this point, Lu Pingon had almost completed the refinement of the more than 20 golden Bodhi dates and was at a critical juncture. His heart was thumping vigorously, his blood rushing forth torrentially, organs chiming incessantly, creating an invisible pressure. His entire being resembled a long-brewing volcano on the verge of eruption, a burst dam, an endless brilliant treasure light flowing across his Bodhi's surface, seemingly forming some sort of mysterious pattern that emitted an overwhelming aura. After finishing his statement, Lu Chuanjin released a second-rank puppet from his storage bag and hid it on the side. Then he placed a talisman treasure in his sleeve and held 2 second-rank talismans in his hands as he stepped out of the cave. After all, the formation was set up with a simple array device. At best, it could withstand a few assaults from peak of Qi refinement cultivators and certainly couldn't hold against the onslaught of the 4 people present. If the 4 of them decided to bombard the cave wildly, it would indeed affect Lu Pingon. "Wait a moment, fellow Daoists." Lu Chuanjin put on a somewhat panicked and rushed demeanor and shouted loudly towards the 4 people. He then continued, "I merely wish to hide here. I don't know in what way I've offended the fellow Daoists." "Heh, you know very well what offense you've committed. Hand over your storage bag now and leave this place, and well spare your life." The 4 people and their 4 beasts were all staring at Lu Chuanjin, exuding a crushing presence. One of them, a middle-aged man in his 30s, stood on a red bird high above and spoke with a commanding tone. Hearing these words, Lu Quanzhen's face showed a troubled expression and said, "If the fellow Daoists want this cave, I will leave right now. Don't play dumb, hand over the storage bag or die." Another cultivator, surrounded by a green large snake, spoke coldly and domineeringly. In their words, the green large snake coldly locked its gaze on Lu Chuanjin, flicking its tongue as if ready to devour him. The 4 people and their 4 spiritual beasts, except for one of the female cultivators whose spiritual beast was a seemingly harmless silver ferret, all possessed formidable spiritual beasts. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 961, Heavenly Spirit Fruit, Go All Out. Underscore this made Lu Chuanjin feel for the first time that beast-taming cultivators were very troublesome. "Fine, I'm willing to hand over the storage bag." Lu Quanzhen's face showed a conflicted and frightened expression as he pretended to throw a storage bag. But in an instant, he activated a talisman he was holding in his left hand. Buzz buzz buzz, dull bites and symbols appeared in the void, rolling towards the 4 individuals. Second-grade lower-quality talisman, shocking spirit talisman. It shocked and disrupted the others' mental spirits, inducing emotions such as alarm, panic, and fear. Lu Chuanjin used this shocking spirit talisman, and immediately, the 4 individuals showed flaws in their mental spirits, slightly losing focus. Then he activated another second-grade lower-quality talisman in his hand, the Thunder Fire talisman, and directed the thunder fire towards the female cultivator with a silver marten on her shoulder. This person's spiritual beast was a support type, indicating that her combat strength was likely somewhat inferior. He wanted to kill all 4 by himself, so he had to fight swiftly and decisively. Hoo. The Thunder Fire talisman transformed into rolling purple thunderous flames, surging violently towards the 4 individuals. "Be careful." These 4 were not simple either. The middle-aged man who spoke earlier seemed to have been prepared, or perhaps he possessed a magic artifact related to the spiritual realm and quickly came to his senses. But in the blink of an eye, the Thunder Fire talisman had already reached the female cultivator playing with the marten. "Ah!" A shrill scream rang out, and although this female cultivator had a magic artifact that automatically protected its master, faced with a second-rank talisman, she was instantly turned into charred remains. "Hong Yu," the middle-aged man, with anger burning in his eyes, said to Lu Chuanjin with murderous intent, "You're seeking death." During his speech, he took out a talisman from his bosom and used it, causing golden light to swirl around his body as he charged towards Lu Chuanjin. His underfoot spiritual beast Red Bird woke from the influence of the shocking spirit talisman, let out a long cry, and spat out rolling flames, the momentum fierce. The other two cultivators also quickly regained their composure, their expressions shocked and furious, filled with killing intent. The cultivator surrounded by a green snake brandished a long blade magic artifact, directly attacking Lu Chuanjin with both man and snake. The other individual conjured a beige bowl, rising into the air, emitting a beige light and pressing down towards Lu Chuanjin with suppressive force. Facing such an onslaught, Lu Chuanjin immediately retreated into the cave, relying on the formation to block for a moment. Just when the three were in a rage, launching furious attacks at the formation, from within the cave, a second-rank puppet burst out, its body entirely of black gold, wielding a blade in one hand and a shield in the other, withstanding the heavy attacks and charging straight at them. Clang! The second-rank puppet's black gold war blade moved with the force of wind and thunder, chopping at the cultivator surrounded by the green snake, causing him to stagger back. The green snake around him hissed and, with a single chop, was bisected, blood splattering. Second-rank puppet? Seeing this, the Su family trio realized they had underestimated their enemy. They didn't expect a mere loose cultivator to not only possess a rare second-rank talisman but also a second-rank puppet. However, just as they were shocked and their faces turned grave, suddenly, a terrifying aura permeated the cave. Lu Chuanjin activated a talisman treasure in his hand, transforming it into a bronze spear, exuding soaring murderous energy. With a swoosh, it pierced through the air towards the snake-wrapped man. Facing this unexpected strike from the talisman treasure, even though the snake-wrapped man was prepared, his defenses were still broken. His chest to the back was punctured by the spear. Sia the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The snake-wrapped man's face showed shock and disbelief as he looked at his pierced chest, his eyes full of angry reluctance. He wanted to say something, but his chest was already torn open, blood spurting, directly costing him his life. Xianxia! Run! Seeing this, the other two shouted in shock, turned around, and fled, not daring to continue the fight. This motherfucker isn't a loose cultivator. One confrontation resulted in 2 second-rank talismans, followed by a second-rank puppet, and now a talisman treasure. Even if they were born into the beast-taming Su family, they could not possibly have such treatment. Only family young masters or nascent soul seed-level cultivators could have such treatment. Thinking of running away? Lu Quanzhen's eyes were filled with cold determination, not about to let the two escape. He remembered the beast-taming Su family had a total of 10 people, now there were only 4, most likely acting separately. Allowing someone to escape would surely bring trouble later on. Swoosh! Pucci! He multitasked, controlling the second-rank puppet and the talisman treasure, relentlessly attacking the Su family middle-aged man. Faced with such pincer attacks, even though the middle-aged man was extraordinary, he was hard-pressed to defend. Boom boom boom. The protective aura shattered in mere moments, then the bronze spear pierced through his body, his heart exploded, and his life obliterated. Screech! The red bird cried mournfully, but the next moment, it was cleaved into 2 by the second-rank puppet, blood spraying the sky. Where are you going? Lu Chuanjin saw the last runaway, promptly put away the talisman treasure, and deployed the divine Pring technique, pursuing. This Su family cultivator was already scared out of his wits by Lu Chuanjin. Seeing him approaching, he was terrified and immediately abandoned his own spiritual beast to delay Lu Chuanjin, frenziedly fleeing. 5 elements Kunping technique. Lu Chuanjin and the second-rank puppet together swiftly killed this spiritual beast. Blood-burning escape technique. He observed the rapidly disappearing Su family cultivator, face showing ruthlessness, both hands forming gesture incantations, resolutely deploying his secret life-saving technique, blood-burning escape technique. In the dense fog of the Purple Shadow Mountain, once the opponent created some distance, it was possible to lose track. Moreover, one could encounter demon beasts or cultivators inside the mountain at any time, so he needed to end this quickly. Lu Quanzhen's strength and speed were already superior to his opponent. Now, fully deploying such a body-damaging secret technique, he instantly turned into a blood-colored rainbow, catching up with the opponent, and with a loud slap, a 5-colored torrent rolled, knocking the young man flying. Daoist, please. This person even tried to plead, but before he could finish speaking, a small 5-colored fish and the second-rank puppet came killing, penetrated the protective aura, and decapitated him. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 962, Crushing Defeat, Beast Taming Sioux Family Annihilated. Lu Chuanjin easily turned the corpse before him to ash, then picked up the magic artifact and storage bag and headed back to the cave by the original route. Upon seeing the spiritual beasts cut in half along the way, the fresh blood beside the cliff precipices, and the two bodies with pierced chests, dead with their eyes wide open, along with the mutilated remains of the spiritual beasts, he burned them all to ash, cleaning up thoroughly. Then he returned to the cave with a calm and natural expression. Chuanjin. Lu Pingan, hearing the movement, opened his eyes, his face filled with pain. He had just heard the noises outside. But he was in the critical moment of refining the golden Bodhi dates and couldn't move, much less speak. It was just a few jumping clowns, they've been taken care of. You don't have to worry, big brother, focus on your refining. Lu Chuanjin said with a smile, his face showing a touch of paleness. The blood-burning escape technique consumed a lot of essence blood and vitality. Even if he only used it for a moment, it had caused him a significant loss of vitality and essence blood, necessitating several months of recuperation. Okay. Lu Pingan saw his brother's pale face and felt a bit of guilt. But he couldn't afford to be distracted now, nodded, and continued to close his eyes, circulating the 100 Refinements treasure body art to refine the golden Bodhi dates within his body. Boom boom boom. Lu Pingan sat cross-legged, motionless, like a great sun furnace, his body roaring, permeated with a fierce and dominant aura. He had previously swallowed the last 5 golden Bodhi dates in one go, making the medicinal strength extremely violent and overbearing, causing his tall and sturdy body to tremor, and his flesh and bones seemed to show signs of cracking. However, within the potent medicinal strength of the golden Bodhi dates, there was a majestic and rich life force that could heal injuries, nourish the cracks, and remodel the flesh and restore broken bones. Moreover, as the 100 Refinements treasure body art was crazily circulated, the magic artifact axe embedded in his chest bone continuously surged out its origin force, integrating into his limbs and marrow. Although this process was painful and torturous, Lu Pingan could clearly see his own improvement. His cultivation level had only broken through from the 7th level energy refinement to the 8th level. However, his physical body had vastly improved, charging directly towards the 6th layer of the 100 Refinements treasure body technique. And who knows how much time had passed? Boom! Suddenly, a tsunami-like sound erupted within Lu Pingan's body, and his musculature shone with endless dazzling light, turning the cave golden. Is this a breakthrough? Lu Chuanjin, hearing the activity, opened his eyes, his face showing a look of surprise. Lu Pingan remained seated cross-legged, his body glittering radiantly, a mighty and domineering aura rolling up and down with a golden luster, exerting an overwhelming pressure. This level of body refinement, even foundation establishment, would be nothing more. At this moment, Lu Chuanjin felt the air become heavy, somewhat difficult to breathe, and couldn't help but step outside the cave to wait. During this process, his mental spirit was tense, observing the situation on the cliff precipices, worried that others might come. And so, several hours passed, and the golden light in the cave gradually faded. Lu Pingan's muscular bodice golden luster slowly retracted and dissipated. Not long after, Lu Pingan opened his eyes, his gaze brimming with divine light, his pupils flowing with a compelling golden sheen. Phew! Lu Pingan let out a long breath of turbid energy, his eyes golden sheen introverted, dark and profound, shining brightly, his gaze piercing like torches. His body, cloaked in dark golden armor, emitted a zzz sound, burning off the impurities from his skin, turning into wisps of black smoke. After consuming 23 golden Bodhi dates, his cultivation level had broken through to the 8th level energy refinement. However, the advancement of cultivation level was only incidental. His real improvement came from the treasure body technique and the transformation of his flesh and bones. The 100 refinements treasure body art broke through from the 5th layer to the 6th layer. His meridians and bones became much more durable than before, granting his physical body and mana an increased upper limit. After all, only when the flesh, meridians, and bones are durable can they withstand high-intensity bursts of strength and compressed mana. Congratulations, big brother. Lu Qianzhen congratulated Lu Pingon. From the recent commotion, he saw that Lu Pingon had gained many benefits from the golden Bodhi date tree. He thought to himself that the golden Bodhi date was indeed not an ordinary spiritual medicine, one that must be offered up as its effects were truly exceptional. Even so, it was only a body-refining cultivator like Lu Pingon who could swallow and refine more than 20 golden Bodhi dates from the tree in a short period. Qianzhen, you've worked hard. Lu Pingon stood up, dressed in dark golden armor, his imposing figure towering, his face sincere, his eyes reflecting some guilt and self-blame. Previously, in order to maximize the efficacy of the golden Bodhi dates and break through realms, he had put himself in a state where he couldn't move. If it weren't for Lu Qianzhen, if someone had come in, his situation would have been very dangerous. Hey, big brother, you're too kind. Lu Qianzhen said with a smile. He had taken healing pills, and his complexion no longer looked so pale. However, his appearance seemed somewhat worse, and he still needed some time to fully recover. Qianzhen, not only did my cultivation level break through to the 8th level energy refinement, but my 100 refinements treasure body technique also broke through to the 6th layer. Leave the rest to me now, Lu Pingon said with a firm voice. He roughly knew his combat strength and could ensure he handled the upcoming situations. The 100 refinements treasure body technique 6th layer. Lu Qianzhen inwardly thought it was as expected. When he was at the 5th layer, his big brother could almost end the fights with 1 or 2 punches. Now that he had broken through to the 6th layer, couldn't he just bulldoze through the secret realm? He narrowed his eyes, smiled, and nodded. Okay. Big brother, the people who came earlier were from the beast-taming Su family. Though I have dealt with them all, we might still be discovered by the Su family, so it's not suitable to stay here for long. Search * the Nefire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Qianzhen said this. Although he had slain all 4 members of the Su family. But the Su family, being a nascent soul-level force, might have some means to locate them. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 963, Crumbling, Beast-Taming Su Family Annihilated. After all, clan cultivators are different from immortal sects disciples. Disciples of immortal sects may form small groups at most, and if others die, they die. It's only because they happen to encounter this, and out of camaraderie, they lend a hand and seek revenge. Otherwise, normally immortal sects disciples wouldn't waste time avenging their fellows. But clan disciples are different. They have blood ties and tend to be more united. Even if we don't mention the unity of family bonds, when a large family enters the secret realm and someone dies inside, the others must give a proper explanation to their family. Beast-taming Su family good? Lu Pingon nodded, aware that this family, being a nascent soul family, was not simple. He carefully shattered the ground and then dug up the golden Bodhi date tree, handing it to Lu Qianzhen. Lu Qianzhen took out a bottle of spiritual liquid from his storage bag, poured it over the golden Bodhi date tree, then placed it into the spirit plant bag. Just as Lu Qianzhen was about to retract the formation, both brothers paused, exchanged glances, hearing some noise coming from the cliff. A moment later, through the formation, Lu Qianzhen saw 5 figures moving down towards the cliff base, continuously heading downwards, seemingly in search of something. Identifying them by their attire and the spiritual beasts beside them, he immediately recognized them as members of the beast-taming Su family. It seems they came here after following some tokens, Lu Quanzhen's eyes narrowed slightly, revealing a hint of coldness, as he roughly guessed what was happening. Search * The Oval Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Previously, after he killed 4 members of the Su family, he naturally wouldn't miss out on the spoils from their storage bags. In the storage bags, tokens, and other suspicious items that couldn't be destroyed were all thrown off the cliff. Now looking at these people's movements, he guessed they were led here by the sensing of those tokens. But it seems like the beast-taming Su family knows about this cave. Lu Chuanzhen recalled the previous 4 members of the Su family discovering the cave, seemingly purposefully, aware of the cave's location. Squinting, he looked to Lu Pingan and said, "Brother, these 5 are from the beast-taming Su family, likely here as a result of the tokens of those previously, although by having the 5 individuals head to the base of the cliff, the 2 could escape without conflict. Who knows whether these people have other means to track down the 2 of them? Given this, it might be better to take the initiative and eliminate them all." Earlier, from the Su family members' storage bags, he gained quite a bounty, securing many precious spiritual medicines. Even their main target, the heavenly spirit fruit, resulted in 2. These 5 people, as cultivators from the beast-taming Su family, would undoubtedly yield substantial gains. Why slowly search for heavenly and earthly treasures when killing for loot is faster? As for taking lives as a form of pillage, Lu Chuanzhen had no moral qualms. After all, in this world, if you don't rob, others will. If he didn't strive or rob, how would his family rise, and how would he achieve core formation within a century? After truly stepping onto the path of cultivation, he started to view these matters indifferently. Or rather, from the first time he killed in the mortal realm, he gradually became indifferent to life. As soon as he arrived in the mortal realm, he could grant life and death, controlling others' lives. With just a simple move, countless lives would perish, and he felt a certain change in his spirit. "Chuanzhen, are you suggesting?" Lu Pingan was momentarily stunned, roughly guessing his brother's intention. "Rather than waiting for them to make a move, we should take the initiative." Lu Chuanzhen, dressed in a black robe and with a slender figure, lacking a bit of color on his face which made him resemble a delicate scholar, spoke softly. Seeing his brother's narrow eyes and the smile on his face, Lu Pingan's heart shuddered slightly, and he spoke in a deep voice. "Okay, I'll handle them, Chuanzhen, you support from the rear. These 5 are from the beast-taming Su family, all possessing spiritual beasts. Be careful, brother." Lu Chuanzhen nodded with a smile. Although he was confident that the 2 of them could subdue the 5 from the Su family, even a lion uses full strength to catch a rabbit. "Rest assured." Lu Pingan nodded, knowing he needed to be swift and efficient. He stepped out of the cave, his eyes bright, looking towards the 5 figures descending towards the cliff base. Boom! Lu Pingan's inner energy circulated, his organs vibrated with a buzzing sound, like a dormant primordial fierce beast. His body glowed with a golden light, casting a cold metallic shine on his armor. Rumble! Following that, the rocks under his feet shattered, his tall form blasting out towards the cliff base, tearing through the layers of air, charging towards the 5. Ah! Roar, roar, roar! No good! Be careful! The 5 Su family members were all very alert. Coming here, following the token and seeing that another team had no news or movement, they realized something was off and came to investigate. "Who are you?" A middle-aged man around 40 years old shouted loudly. He was the leader of the Su family team. Seeing Lu Pingan with an overwhelming aura, which caused his spiritual beast to howl in fear and sensing immense danger, his eyes filled with shock and disbelief. Seeing Lu Pingan coming closer, he dared not hesitate and shouted loudly, "Battle formations, Black Dragon Shears." Instantly, the 5 formed a formation. This was a battle formation, allowing multiple energy refining cultivators to integrate their energies, combining offense and defense, greatly enhancing their combat power. The 5 organized themselves, their spiritual beasts encircling them, 2 of them performing gesture incantations, summoning magic artifacts to create a protective shield encapsulating them all. The other 3 each summoned a black longsword, a black long knife, and black chains. These 3 artifacts, under their control, emitted black light, merging in the air into a scissor measuring a zhang in length. The scissors emitted a frightful cold black radiance, with a flood dragon flickering in and out of visibility, ferocious and terrifying, seemingly able to tear through anything, charging towards Lu Pingan. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 964, Crumbling, Beast Taming Su Family Annihilated. Boom! Lu Pingan's body shot through the air like a meteor, muscles bulging as he fearlessly hurled his already raised right arm out to meet the approaching black shears, not dodging in the slightest. Idiot! To think you'd dare to catch our black dragon shears with your flesh and blood. Simply courting death. Truly, body refining has turned his brain to mush. The 5 from the Su family saw Lu Pingan's action and all sneered, scoffed, and looked on with disdain. But the next moment, a golden fist struck out, accompanied by a sound of dragon's roar and tiger's howl, clashing directly with the black shears. Clang! A heaven-shaking, earth-shattering metallic symphony erupted, sparks flying everywhere. The violent, powerful force burst forth from the center of the fist and the shears, violently spreading out, sending rocks and soil from the cliffs rolling down and turning into dust. This. How is this possible? He's actually clashing fists with the black dragon shears. The 5 members of the Su family shouted in alarm, their eyes filled with disbelief, horror, and shock. You should know, their black dragon shears were no ordinary artifact. It was a combined spiritual artifact bestowed by the old patriarch of their family. Normally, it acted as 3 top-tier magic artifacts, but once combined, it qualified as a low-quality spiritual artifact. And it wasn't just any run-of-the-mill production line spiritual artifact. It was a top-grade spiritual artifact with power comparable to a middle-grade spiritual artifact. The 5 of them wielding these black dragon shears could engage in battle even with Foundation establishment cultivators. But now, Lu Pingan was confronting their low-quality spiritual artifact, the black dragon shears, with his fists. Clang, clang, clang. Lu Pingan's fists were like dragons as he continually hammered down on the black shears, sparks flying, dazzlingly bright, causing the spiritual artifact to tremble frantically, its spiritual light dimming somewhat. Daoist, we do not know where we have offended you. If you have already claimed this place, we can leave. The lead member of the Su family shouted, waves of shock and dread rising in his heart. They hadn't anticipated that not only could Lu Pingan fend off their spiritual artifact with his fists, but he could also dim its spiritual light. They couldn't comprehend how such a humanoid fierce beast could appear inside the Purple Shadow secret realm. Who could refine their body cultivation to such a degree when their cultivation level was only at the 8th level of energy refinement. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Pingan remained silent, continuing to punch out, with the sound of clanging resonating in all directions, echoes upon echoes, as rocks and chunks of earth rolled and shattered. Daoist, we are from the beast-taming Su family of Jiang country. Could there be some misunderstanding between us? Another member of the Su family continued to shout out. Although they could guess why Lu Pingan was attacking, they really didn't want to continue the battle against such a body-refining cultivator. After all, entering the secret realm was for the purpose of seeking opportunities. There was no need to fight to the death. If both sides were harmed, neither would gain any benefit. Seeing Lu Pingan remain silent as he threw another punch, shattering the black dragon shears and dimming its light, anger flashed in the eyes of the few Su family cultivators. Daoist, do you really wish for both fish and net to be destroyed? Although your body refining is profound, killing all of us alone will come at a price. The 5 Su family cultivators shouted out loud. They were from the Su family, one of the top forces in Jiang country. 10 people had entered the secret realm, and only at the start had one of them been killed by someone for some unknown reason. The remaining 9 had traveled together, divided into 2 groups, with hardly anyone daring to provoke them. Now, faced with Lu Pingan's challenge, they were naturally filled with anger. Kill! Seeing this, The five realized that it would be difficult to resolve the situation peacefully and thus attacked with all their might, intending to make Lu Pingan pay a price and retreat. They formed a battle formation, controlling the black dragon shears, and simultaneously commanded their spiritual pets to kill Lu Pingan from the flank. One of them also distractedly threw out several talismans, bombarding Lu Pingan. Yet against such an onslaught, Lu Pingan remained fearless, merely turning his head to look at the tiger-like spiritual beast pouncing at him and spinning around to land a punch. His fist thundered like a drum beaten by gods and demons, breaking through the layers of air with a boom, tearing the massive body of the tiger apart, blood spraying everywhere. The talismans and techniques of the other four spiritual beasts fell upon Lu Pingan's body, causing a series of violent explosions, but they did not inflict any substantial damage. The five were horrified to see Lu Pingan's body refinement to be astonishingly resilient without any weaknesses. Not only could his physical strength clash with the black dragon shears, but his body also completely ignored their technique attacks. How could they fight against this? With what could they even fight? Open mountain. Lu Pingan's energy surged powerfully, treasure light flowing around his body, golden radiance entwining his form, dazzling like a layer of golden battle armor. His right arm soared like a dragon snake rising from the ground, roll with momentum, and behind him loomed a magnificent giant axe. The void thundered, and as he punched out, his force exploded, causing endless sounds of air being shattered. The giant axe, following his punch, descended from the sky dome, unleashing an infinitely terrifying fierce power, causing the dimmed black dragon shears to cry out sadly as they were sent flying, crashing directly into the defense formation of the five. Boom, boom, boom. It was as if the overwhelming force was vast like a prison, causing the defense formation to become dim, cracking densely, with the five inside shaken in chi and blood, pale-faced, spitting out blood. Damn it, damn it, damn it. At this moment, the members of the Su family felt as if they were shrouded in a thick cloud of death, their hearts sinking into despair. Yes, despair. Because in this exchange, they no longer knew how to fight. They could not even breach Lu Pingan's defense. Go! The five exchanged glances, ready to use life-saving measures to flee for their lives. Only then might they have a sliver of a chance. In an instant, they abandoned their four spiritual pets, charging at Lu Pingan to take the lead and using this method to buy time. So the novel, Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 965. Crumbling, Beast Taming Su Family Annihilated. Subsequently, the five people activated their life-saving talismans and fled in a flash, soaring into the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The protective barrier shattered loudly, and the four spiritual beasts couldn't even let out a whine before their bodies exploded, blood splattering across the sky. As the five members of the Su family were about to reach the cliff, they saw a young man in a black robe and a bound crown standing above them. Beside the young man stood a tall metal puppet, wielding a sword in one hand and a shield in the other. Above their heads, a giant hammer, as large as a person and shrouded in purple lightning arcs, exuded a terrifying aura. Boom! The purple giant hammer, faced with the five men, struck directly downwards, engulfing them like a vast ocean of purple lightning. Talisman treasure? The five cultivators, seeing the giant hammer with purple lightning arcs, had their faces drastically change in horror. Unexpectedly, Lu Pingan had an accomplice and, in such a situation, even produced a talisman treasure to await them. Why have we, the Su family, offended you? The five men shouted desperately, their expressions hopeless as they tried to counter the talisman treasure's assault. But at that moment, Lu Pingan looked at them again and threw another punch. Boom, boom, boom. Facing such an onslaught, within an instant, the five individuals were blasted into a horrific mist of blood from both sides. Big brother, with this combat power, I suppose no one in the Purple Shadow's secret realm could be your match. Lu Chuanjin said somewhat emotionally. He had been supporting Lu Pingan earlier and was surprised to see that the other side didn't use talismans but directly countered the Su family's 5 members with his physical body alone. He couldn't help but feel that only Foundation establishment cultivators were qualified to confront someone like Lu Pingan who performs body cultivation. Because, for energy refining cultivators, even the best among them couldn't break through the defense nor had any way to do so. Xianxia, if we kill too many inside this secret realm, I'm afraid it might easily lead to trouble. Moreover, when the secret realm ends, we need to turn in our findings, and if we harvest too much, it could also attract unwanted attention. Lu Pingan said to his younger brother, thinking he intended to loot openly in the secret realm. Initiating an attack on the Su family already had some justifiable reasons. But to rob others of their findings, that was something he wasn't willing or capable of doing. Hee, big brother, I understand. Lu Xianxia smiled and nodded, knowing well the kind and generous nature of his older brother. Previously, when the two encountered other cultivators on the outskirts, as long as the others didn't attack first, Lu Pingan would definitely not initiate conflict. Sometimes, when he saw an opportunity to attack, he would simply let it go. The two processed the remains of the 5 people and their spiritual beasts, picking up the magic artifacts and storage bags, then returned to the cave to sort through these bags. As Lu Xianxia had guessed, the harvesting of the 5 members of the Su family was indeed substantial. Among them were not only several kinds of spiritual medicines that needed to be submitted, but also 3 heavenly spirit fruits. It seems that the Su family, with this kind of family force, must know some coordinates in the Purple Shadow Mountain where rare spiritual herbs are abundant. Lu Xianxia speculated based on the earlier situation. Moreover, as a family of clan cultivators like the beast-taming Su family, they certainly had seized other people's spiritual herbs and medicines, thus enabling such substantial findings. Big brother, since we have to submit 50% when we exit, I see here are quite a few spirit medicines effective for the physical body and energy. Why don't you take them all to boost yourself? While Lu Xianxia and Lu Pingan were sorting the storage bags, Lu Xianxia suddenly spoke up. He had originally planned to meet up with Lu Qingshan near the end of their time in the secret realm and give him some spoils to carry out. After all, Lu Qingshan had a nascent soul master. Even if the spoils were generous, nobody would dare say anything. But now, their finding was indeed astonishing, so they might as well use some. Moreover, if we submit too many spirit medicines later, it might also invite trouble, so it's better if you take more, big brother. Lu Xianxia continued. In his view, submitting a pile of spirit medicines was genuinely less beneficial than using them to enhance one's cultivation level. Moreover, the family was currently relying on their father and several maternal aunts back at White Tiger Mountain, which lacked Foundation establishment cultivators. Though he and Lu Qingshan could break through to Foundation establishment within a few years, Lu Xianxia had long planned that once he achieved Foundation establishment, he would venture out to strive for core formation as soon as possible. With himself away and Lu Qingshan far in Yu country's Jinyang sect, Lu Wangshu would need at least a decade more to grow. That left only his big brother at home. Therefore, he felt it was quite important for the other to enhance his strength. Lu Pingan found the idea reasonable. However, seeing so many spiritual medicines, he thought about consuming them directly but felt it would be a waste. After all, each of these spiritual medicines could be worth hundreds of spirit stones if put on the market. Before he could speak, Lu Xianxia pulled out a bunch of spirit herbs and medicines from the storage bags and handed them to Lu Pingan, indicating he would eat them too. Hearing this, the brothers began gnawing on spiritual medicines inside the cave. Were anyone to witness this scene, they would surely curse them for their reckless wastefulness. Outside the Purple Shadow secret realm, it seems Pingan has encountered great fortune within the secret realm. Not only has his cultivation level broken through to the 8th level of energy refinement, but his 100 refinements treasure body art has also advanced. Lu Changxing, through system feedback, knew of his son's multiple breakthroughs and was amazed. After all, just a year ago, Lu Pingan had only broken through to the 7th level of energy refinement and the 5th layer of the 100 refinements treasure body art. Now, within only 1 year, he had made double breakthroughs. especially to the 6th layer of the 100 Refinements Treasure Body art. With Lu Pingan's 100 Refinements Treasure Body art breaking through to the 6th layer, his own treasure body technique had also significantly improved. It was almost reaching the peak of the 8th layer. He planned to give Lu Pingan the halberd magic artifact he and Li Feiyu had obtained once he returned home from the secret realm. After all, as a father, one naturally thinks of their children first when it comes to good things. Giving this damaged magic artifact to his children for cultivation would benefit them both. Effectively a double gain. At this rate, perhaps my body refinement will reach the 3rd rank even faster than my cultivation level. Sar the novel underscore. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Changsheng thought privately. When he had broken through to foundation establishment, his 100 Refinements Treasure Body art had just advanced to the 3rd layer not long before. But now, the treasure body technique had overtaken it. Just waiting for Chuanjin and Qingshan to break through foundation establishment. Lu Changsheng was hopeful, feeling more and more optimistic about the future. Buzz. Just then, a wave of core formation spiritual pressure suddenly spread through the air, overwhelming and terrifying like mountains, shaking all foundation establishment cultivators present. They all opened their eyes wide and looked up into the sky, unsure of what was happening. Oh, what's gotten into Patriarch Su to lose composure like this? Could it be that something unfortunate has happened to his descendants inside the secret realm? One of the false core patriarchs from the Shangguan family, one of the 3 great nascent soul noble families of Jiang country, said with a laugh upon seeing Patriarch Zu's demeanor. Although the 3 great families were all family forces, their relationship was not very good. There were frequent frictions over interests, making it a clear struggle both openly and covertly. Old Ghost Shangguan, this matter does not need your concern. Patriarch Su said coldly, his expression dark as he contained the leaking false core spiritual pressure. His storage bag had contained 5 soul plates, which had all just shattered. This meant that all 10 of the Su family descendants had died within the Purple Shadow secret realm. 300 years ago, their family had allowed their descendants to explore the secret realm, resulting in an accident where only one survived. Afterward, they established rules. Upon entering the secret realm, they must band together immediately and must not act alone. Since then, their family had not suffered casualties of more than half. But this time, all 10 descendants had died in the secret realm. This incident was not only a loss of the secret realm's harvest for the beast-taming Su family, but it was also a severe blow to the family's reputation and prestige. Is it Qingyun sect deliberately suppressing my Su family, or is it the Shangguan family, or perhaps the 4 great immortal sects? Patriarch Su speculated in his heart, suspecting some forces were targeting his family. After all, aside from the 4 great immortal sects and a few other major core formation forces, who could completely annihilate his descendants. Just as their family patriarch had previously been heavily injured in a beast tide, his condition was unclear. At this time, other families might be trying to probe their family's stance through this manner, thereby deducing the condition of their patriarch. Who exactly it is, we shall know once the secret realm concludes and we see the situations of the other families, Patriarch Su said calmly, standing on the divine vessel. Now that all his descendants had died in the secret realm, he could very well leave directly. But this matter was not only embarrassing but also concerned probing by other families. If he couldn't discern which family was responsible, it would be difficult to explain upon returning. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 966, Young Master Lu Qingshan, from the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. Purple Shadow Secret Realm. Lu Qingshan, we are not as skilled as you, we admit defeat. This white jade Ganoderma is yours. 2 disciples of the Heavenly Sword sect looked at the sharp and upright figure of Lu Qingshan in front of them, spoke solemnly, and then left with a bow. The Heavenly Sword sect, interesting. Lu Qingshan watched the 2 departing Heavenly Sword sect disciples, his expression calm and indifferent. Planning to break through to Foundation establishment soon, If he had time, he could consider going to the Heavenly Sword sect to challenge them. After all, these two were at best above average in the Heavenly Sword sect, not considered top-tier geniuses. But such a spar was somewhat helpful to his sword Dao. It indicated that this sword cultivation sect had many outstanding features. He walked over to the slain dual-headed python, picked the white jade Ganoderma that looked like jade and shimmered with a crystal-like luster, and put it into his spirit plant bag. Although he had seized quite a few heaven and earth spiritual materials along his way, he would not trouble those who were sensible and retreated voluntarily. Like these two Heavenly Sword sect disciples, they were easy to talk to. As long as there was a spar and they lost, they would willingly concede the spiritual medicine. Xiao Jin, continue. Lu Qingshan took out a spirit grass and fed it to the golden hamster in his sleeve, speaking out loud. Shichichi. The earth spirit mouse held the spirit grass and nibbled on it, its face full of bliss. Then it looked around, sensing the situation of heaven and earth spiritual materials. At this moment, Lu Qingshan frowned slightly, flipped his hand, and a red glowing yin-yang sensing talisman appeared in his palm. Though he hadn't accompanied Qingzhou Mountain on this trip, he had given a sensing talisman to his grandfather, Lu Yuanding, indicating that if Qingzhou Mountain encountered any danger in the Purple Shadow's secret realm, they could seek his help. Half a month since entering the secret realm, this sensing talisman had remained silent. Its activation now signaled a high probability of a life-threatening danger. I want to see who is so blind. Lu Qingshan's eyes narrowed, he stored the earth spirit mouse, and channeled spiritual power into the sensing talisman. Then he looked towards the northwest, lightly tapping his storage bag. The Tianxin sound bamboo sword, resembling golden bamboo, appeared and softly glided like a swimming dragon. Lu Qingshan lightly tapped his foot and rose on his sword, turning into a sword shadow, shooting towards the direction of the sensing talisman, causing bursts of golden and jade sword sounds to ring through the air. Meanwhile, inside a dense forest, 6 monks of the Jin family were besieging Lu Miaofeng and 2 Lu family disciples. At this moment, the 3 were completely surrounded, unable to escape, and could only rely on talismans to barely hold on, continuously defending, creating a stalemate. Hee, are you still waiting for rescue? 100 Birds Lake probably doesn't even dare enter Purple Shadow Mountain but just loiter around the periphery, picking up some spiritual medicine. Even if they receive the rescue, they cannot save you. It's a pity no one from Blue Lake Mountain came, otherwise we would definitely make that Lu Changsheng taste the pain of losing a son. The 6 monks of the Jin family watched the struggling Lu Miaofeng and others, continuously speaking out. Previously, when Lu Changsheng saw the monks from the Jin family come forward, he directly had his son Lu Chuanjin encounter them and slew them all. The same was true for Golden Dragon Ridge. Due to the matter with White Tiger Mountain, they harbored deep hatred for Blue Lake Mountain, considering them irreconcilable. However, the Jin family cultivator outside the secret realm hadn't seen anyone from Blue Lake Mountain. Sarch * the Navire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Thus, they let them encounter Qingzhou Mountain, 100 Birds Lake, and other families allied with Blue Lake Mountain, and slew them all. After all, families like Qingzhou Mountain, 100 Birds Lake sending 3 or 4 late-stage energy refinement cultivators into the Purple Shadow secret realm was already their limit. If they all died in this secret realm, it would be a significant blow, indirectly weakening the strength of Blue Lake Mountain. Lu Miaofeng did not speak. He was naturally aware of the Bai family situation. Suffering 1 death and 1 injury in the outer area, they hadn't entered the core area. But he had not sought help from the Bai family. Instead, he had sought help from his nephew, Lu Qingshan. He wasn't clear about the exact strength of this nephew, having seen only a brief sword strike from him. But just that 1 strike made him realize there were always higher skies above one acknowledges. Boom, boom, boom. The orderly offensive of the 6 from the Jin family struck Lu Miaofeng's defensive magic artifact, causing his internal spiritual energy to continuously shake, his complexion turning pale. At this moment, Lu Miaofeng suddenly sensed a response from Lu Qingshan's side, immediately transmitted to his younger relatives, Hold on, Qingshan is already on his way. Qingshan, Lu Qingshan. Upon hearing this, the two instantly perked up. They knew their nephew, a cousin of the direct lineage of the immortal sex, a disciple of the nascent soul immortal, had strength far beyond their clan cultivators. Nephew Miao Feng, is it only Lu Qingshan coming? One of the Lu family disciples asked via transmission. He knew that Lu Qingshan was extraordinarily powerful, but it seemed difficult for one person alone to repel 6 from the Jin family. Qingshan's strength is extraordinary, comparable to Foundation establishment. Once he arrives, he will definitely be able to repel the 6 from the Jin family. Lu Miaofeng's voice was resolute, leaving no room for doubt. At this moment, he had to instill confidence in them. Besides, he still had 2 second-rank talismans in his storage bag. As long as Lu Qingshan arrived, he believed the 4 of them would be able to repel the 6 from the Jin family. Comparable to Foundation establishment. Both were shocked upon hearing this. After all, the gap between energy refinement and Foundation establishment was like a chasm. To be comparable to Foundation establishment while only in energy refinement, that was astonishing. Lu Miaofeng, if you are willing to surrender now, kneel and beg for mercy, we might be in a good mood and let you live. Continuing this way, you only have a path to death. Better to give up struggling, and we might spare your lives. The few cultivators of the Jin family continued to speak. Their words were not truly expecting Lu Miaofeng to give in and beg. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 967, Young Master Lu Qingshan, from the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. It was, after all, a distraction tactic using these words. After all, the mental state of the cultivators during combat was extremely important. Once their minds were disturbed, they were prone to making mistakes. They did not want to expend too much energy fighting Lu Miaofeng and his 2 companions in the Purple Shadow Mountain. Thus, they chose this method to interfere with their mental spirits, seeking an opportunity to find a flaw and end the fight quickly. Boom, boom, boom. As time slowly passed, the faces of Lu Miaofeng and his 2 companions became paler and paler. One of them even had blood seeping from the corner of his mouth, appearing extremely unsteady. At this rate, the 3 of them were doomed. But even so, Lu Miaofeng did not give up and chose to escape alone using a talisman. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At that moment, Lu Miaofeng sensed the energy of the yin-yang sensing talisman closing in and immediately transmitted a message to his juniors. Qingshan will be here soon, get ready. Yes, 7th brother. Uncle Miaofeng, don't worry, I can still hold on. Although the 2 were pale and weak, their eyes flashed with a fierce determination. Since they had dared to venture into the Purple Shadow secret realm, they were certainly not the type to fear death. Be cautious of their desperate counterattacks in their dying throes. The monk of the Jin family warned cautiously, not giving Lu Miaofeng and his companions any chance to counterattack. Be careful, someone's coming. Soon, one of the monks of the Jin family sensed an aggressive and piercing aura rushing towards them and loudly alerted the others. However, just as he finished speaking, another cold and compelling voice sounded, seeking death. A young man on a flying sword appeared, his expression cold, holding a golden magical sword. Without even exchanging greetings, he swung his sword at the 5 cultivators. His sword strike was domineering, bursting forth with endless piercing sword light, overwhelming the skies. Who is it? Not good. The monks of the Jin family, faced with the piercing sword light, were startled and hastily activated their talismans, attempting to block it. But the sword light, in an instant, focused into a single point like an antelope hanging its horns on a branch, fiercely drilling towards a monk of the Jin family who was only at the 7th level of energy refinement. With a splat, the sword light penetrated the heart of the monk of the Jin family, his throat gurgled with blood, and he fell with his eyes wide open in death. This display of sword energy formation startled the remaining 5 cultivators from Jinlong Ridge. Qingshan. Lu Miaofeng and his companions immediately looked towards the young sword cultivator with sharp eyebrows and brimming vigor, their expressions filled with surprise. They knew of Lu Qingshan's extraordinary strength, but they hadn't expected him to be this astounding. He had killed a man with a single strike upon arrival. CTH novel, F.I.R. at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. This increased their chances of victory considerably. Take action. Lu Miaofeng didn't hesitate, made a prompt decision, and shouted out, switching from defense to offense with the other two. Why do you seek to be our enemy, sir? If Qingzhou Mountain has offered you any rewards, just withdraw, and Jinlong Ridge will double them. The monks of the Jin family's expressions changed drastically, looking ugly. Although they had seen Lu Qingshan being sent here by a nascent soul immortal outside the secret realm, they did not recognize Lu Qingshan, nor were they aware of his relationship with Qingzhou Mountain or why he would suddenly attack them. Thus, they hoped to make him retreat with offers of benefits and by invoking their family's reputation. Jinlong Ridge? Jinlong Ridge Jin family? Lu Qingshan, handsome with distinct features, raised his eyebrows slightly upon hearing their words. He remembered his grandfather mentioning that Jinlong Ridge had a feud with his family. Yes, we are indeed from the Jinlong Ridge Jin family. If you are willing to cease, we will surely reward you handsomely afterward. The monk of the Jin family said immediately, his expression carrying a tinge of proud arrogance. After all, as a false core family, even beyond the Qingyun region, they had a certain reputation and influence. So be it, then you all can die. Lu Qingshan scoffed, his demeanor intensely commanding like a blazing sun, holding the magical sword, continuing his onslaught against the five. Fellow Daoist, do you really intend to make enemies with Jinlong Ridge? Has Jinlong Ridge in any way offended you? The monk of the Jin family twitched in the corner of his eyes, his expression ugly, quickly taking out several talismans from his possession, activating them, and yelling. Even though Lu Miaofeng and his companions were gravely injured, in this situation, they really had no confidence to handle both Lu Qingshan and Lu Miaofeng's group. Even if they could manage to kill Lu Miaofeng and his companions, they too would suffer heavy casualties and would not be able to continue exploring the secret realm. Remember, young master's family name is Lu, given name Qingshan, from the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. Lu Qingshan stood upright on his flying sword, swinging his golden magical sword that emitted piercing sword lights, his voice cold. Knowing my name, you can die without regret. As soon as he finished talking, his Tianxin sound bamboo sword also transformed into a sword light, resembling a silver dragon, tearing through the air waves, attacking the five. This flying sword was a reward he had received from the sect's sword testing competition. It was a spiritual artifact flying sword with abilities like breaking techniques, sharpness, and traceless sword shadows. It had never been used routinely, always kept as a trump card. Now, to quickly resolve the battle and ensure all five were slain, he unleashed both swords. What? Lu Qingshan from Blue Lake Mountain? Where is such a person in Blue Lake Mountain? The five were shocked and bewildered upon hearing this. Blue Lake Mountain, although not without its fame, the only renowned figures, aside from the mountain lord Lu Changxing, were his wives, Dao companions. In terms of children, only Lu Chuanjin at White Tiger Mountain, family head Lu Yun, and puppet master Lu Xinji had some reputation and were known to the surrounding families. But they absolutely did not recall a sword cultivator named Lu Qingshan associated with a nascent soul immortal. Yet at this moment, the five had no time to ponder further. Boom, boom, boom. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 968, Young Master Lu Qingshan, from the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. Chapter 968, Chapter 346, Young Master Lu Qingshan, from the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. The Gingjin Law Sword was like a blazing sun, fierce and dominant, bursting forth with sharp and overbearing sword chi, striking directly at the defensive aura of the five men. The Tianxin Sound Bamboo Sword was like a silver dragon, stirring up a layer of rolling sword chi that shimmered with golden jade musical waves, its edge sharp and its sword chi inhaling and exhaling, using the characteristic of the flying sword to pierce a hole in the aura and behead a cultivator of the Jin family at the 8th level of energy refinement. Jin Ming. The other 4, seeing this, cried out in alarm. They had not expected that, with the 5 of them in such a state, Lu Qingshan's flying sword could still instantly kill one of them. At this moment, they felt a rich sense of crisis. Hiss? Even though Lu Miaofeng had known early on about Lu Qingshan's strength, he was still incredibly shocked at this scene. Lest the cultivators of the Jin family fight back in desperation, he immediately activated a second-rank Thunder Fire Talisman from his storage bag, turning it into endless thunderous flames and charging at the remaining 4 men. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, the situation changed from defense to offense. Originally, 6 people from the Jin family were besieging the 3 members of the Lu Miaofeng party. But now, with Lu Qingshan arriving, they were directly caught in a pincer attack. Ah, damn Blue Lake Mountain! The cultivators of the Jin family roared in anger, filled with regret. They had not at all expected that this young man sent by the nascent soul immortal would actually come from Blue Lake Mountain. If they had known about Lu Qingshan's story earlier, they would have fought with all they had, even at the risk of serious injury, to kill the 3 Lu Miaofeng quickly, not giving Lu Qingshan time to arrive. But there is no medicine for regret in the world. At this time, there was no time for them to regret. Boom, boom, boom. Facing such an overwhelming offensive, the defensive aura of the 4 from the Jin family was struggling to hold, and the spiritual light was dimming. Puchi! The Tianxin sound bamboo sword was like a celestial being flying from the sky, its sword light crisscrossing, air currents flying about, finding the gap, and in an instant beheading another person. Ah, I'm not reconciled. Let's fight them to the death. The remaining 3 Jin family cultivators revealed despair in their eyes, knowing that in such a situation, the 3 of them could not even run away and would only die faster. They immediately looked ferociously at the Lu Miaofeng trio, wanting a fight to the bitter end. Be careful. Seeing this, Lu Miaofeng immediately used the last second-rank defense talisman in his bottom-of-the-box collection. He could see that now, as long as they interfered and maintained the situation, Lu Qingshan would be able to handle everything. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Qingshan saw the attack of the 3 from the Jin family, sneered coldly, and his hands formed a gesture, his fingers coming together like a sword, pointing forward. One could see the Gingjin Law sword drawing an arc in the sky, radiantly golden, slashing down fiercely. Boom! The 3 had just been fully resisting, managing to hold against Lu Qingshan's flying sword onslaught. But at this moment, they were distracted, focusing on attacking, which instantly led to their defense being breached, their spiritual power and blood unstable, and their steps stumbled. The Gingjin Law sword was like a radiant golden sun, blasting and swallowing boundless sword light, heading straight for the 3 men. The Tianxin sound bamboo sword, like a wandering dragon, coiled around the 3, looking for weak spots, and then struck a lethal blow. Such masterful manipulation of the flying sword technique was truly exquisite, something many sword cultivators who had broken through to Foundation establishment could not achieve. Within a few breaths, 2 cultivators of the Jin family died under Lu Qingshan's flying sword. Ah, I'm not reconciled, I'm not reconciled. The last Jin family cultivator's face was filled with a miserable expression, roaring with resentment and unwillingness. Puchi! With silver sword light crisscrossing, the Tianxin sound bamboo sword like a roaming dragon, pierced through the heart of the last Jin family cultivator. Not reconciled? Being able to die at my hands, Lu Qingshan, is your honor, the only thing worth remembering in your lives. Lu Qingshan's expression was cold and indifferent as he spoke. His palm lightly lifted, and the Tianxin sound bamboo sword returned to his hand like a roaming dragon. Thump! The monk of the Jin family's chest burst open in an instant. He violently spat out a mouthful of blood, died on the spot, and fell to the ground with eyes wide open, unable to close them even in death. Not far away, Lu Miaofeng and his 2 companions were staring dumbfounded at the scene. At this moment, they deeply realized the gap between people. Qingshan, we owe you big time for coming just in time. Lu Miaofeng quickly came back to his senses, looked at Lu Qingshan and said. In his eyes, he couldn't help but show a bit of awe. After all, Lu Qingshan's strength was so astonishing that they couldn't help but feel respectful. Hee, uncle, you are too kind. Lu Qingshan's face showed a hint of a smile as he spoke. Are you all okay? Although he knew Lu Miaofeng and the others, they weren't very close, not even as close as the playmates of his childhood. We are fine. It's just excessive consumption of spiritual power, some minor injuries, Lu Miaofeng and the others hurriedly said. I have some healing medicine here. Lu Qingshan took out a porcelain bottle from his storage bag and handed it to the three, saying. The condition of the three also affected his following exploration in the secret realm. See Tijnell Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. So he hoped they would recover soon. Under Lu Qingshan's care, the three began to heal and condition themselves. 2 days later, when they had nearly recovered, Lu Miaofeng handed over a rare spiritual medicine they had found to Lu Qingshan. He expressed that if they encountered any accidents in the secret realm, he hoped Lu Qingshan would take the harvest of the spiritual medicine back to Qingzhou Mountain. Because they were well aware that the three of them would only delay and impact Lu Qingshan in the secret realm. If they acted together, the benefits they received could not be evenly divided. To avoid personal interests affecting family ties, they indicated that they were fine and would soon leave Purple Shadow Mountain to mix some spiritual medicines in the outer areas. Upon hearing this, Lu Qingshan did not say much. He gave each of the three a second-rank talisman, told them to be careful, and then continued his solo adventure in the secret realm. Whenever he heard fighting nearby, he would go over to take a look and step forward to intervene. Outside the Purple Shadow secret realm. Lu Changxing became alert and opened his eyes. Not far away, an old Foundation establishment cultivator from Golden Dragon Ridge suddenly stood up with a grim and ugly expression on his face, utterly frustrated and furious. If it weren't for the numerous Foundation establishments around and several nascent soul immortals in the sky, he would have wished to vent his anger. Could it be that Xuanzhen and Qingshan encountered the cultivators of the Jin family? Lu Changxing saw this and stroked his chin, a hint of a smile appearing on his face. It was a pity that he was not in his true form, otherwise he would have liked to check on the situation with his neighbors. However, it was not necessary for him to worry, as immediately, 2 Foundation establishment cultivators approached and inquired about the Jin family cultivators' situation with concern. But this gesture only made the Jin family Foundation establishment's face grow uglier. With a flick of his sleeve, he controlled the spirit boat and soared into the sky. This scene surprised many bystanders. After all, although Golden Dragon Ridge wasn't a top-tier family force, it still belonged to the first tier. This time, they had sent 6 energy refinement late-stage descendants to the Purple Shadow secret realm, and their strengths were not to be underestimated. Now, with the secret realm exploration still ongoing and the Foundation establishment cultivator of the Jin family leaving with a grim face, it indicated that all 6 descendants had perished within the secret realm. This was astonishing indeed. Nevertheless, this was not the first occurrence of its kind, and others were merely surprised and more worried about their own descendants in the secret realm. They hoped that their families would have better luck and not encounter any deadly cultivators from the Spirit Taming Sect or the Heavenly Sword Sect. Source: Web Novel. Com, updated on Novlove. Com. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 969. Demon Tree Seed, Your First Love Has Been Attacked. Chapter 969, Chapter 347. Demon Tree Seed, Your First Love Has Been Attacked. Purple Shadow Secret Realm, inside a certain cave. Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanzhen had been consuming medicinal herbs all these days, stuffing their mouths full of valuable spirit grass, spiritual medicine, and spirit fruits, swallowing them whole and chewing vigorously. Though compared to alchemy, this method of ingesting spiritual medicine directly was quite wasteful. and the medicinal power was overbearing, filling the entire body, making it hard to digest and refine. Yet compared to elixir medicines, this way had a benefit. As long as your body could withstand and consume it, refining it, there wouldn't be any elixir toxicity or side effects. Lu Chuanzhen knew his own condition, so he ate very steadily during this process, slowly refining it to solidify his foundation. Lu Pingan was at first reluctant to consume them, feeling quite pained. But as he ate more, he began to feel the effects. On one hand, his brother said they had too many spiritual medicines, and if they didn't eat more, they would have trouble handing them over when required and might have to throw them away. On the other hand, this way of directly consuming spiritual medicines was very suitable for him. Because the 100 Refinements treasure body art was itself a method of cultivation through the use of heavenly and earthly treasures. These treasures were not limited to just metallic spiritual ore. They also included spirit grass, spirit flowers, and spirit fruits as heaven and earth spiritual material. Therefore, for ordinary cultivators, spiritual medicine was more effectively used when refined into elixir medicines with the use of supporting ingredients, as the resultant pills were better for absorption and easier to refine. But for the 100 Refinements treasure body art, it was different. The 100 Refinements treasure body art required the use of raw and overbearing properties, energy, and medicinal effects from heaven and earth spiritual material to forge the physical body. One spiritual medicine was refined into elixir medicine, while easier to absorb and refine, the raw and overbearing effects of its medicinal properties would have all but faded away. Thus, as Lu Pingan continued to ingest and refine spiritual medicines, with the overbearing medicinal powers surging through his limbs and organs, he could clearly feel his physical body continuously improving. He even noticed some mysterious changes in his physical body as his muscles and bones strengthened, his bone density increased, and his marrow seethed. There gradually formed a callus-like thin membrane between his skin and bones. Ordinary technique attacks would be absorbed by this thin membrane. This effect was quite astonishing. Lu Pingan felt that his understanding of the 100 Refinements treasure body art was now exceeded. He had to ask his father later for advice to understand what was going on with his 100 Refinements treasure body art. Chuanzhen, the secret realm should be ending in about 10 days. Let's go out again and take a look. Maybe we can still find some gains. Lu Pingan chewed on the spiritual medicine as he spoke. He now felt a surging power throughout his body, endless force that he wanted to release in a few exhilarating fights. Okay. Lu Chuanzhen heard this and looked towards his elder brother, nodding his head. Then he packed up the formation, and the two of them left the cave mansion to continue searching for spiritual medicine. Perhaps because they had stayed in the cave for more than 10 days, the number of demon beasts nearby had decreased due to their previous hunting, causing them to encounter them less frequently. The two thus headed directly towards the summit of Purple Shadow Mountain. Generally, the closer to the center, the more and the rarer the spiritual medicines would be. Naturally, demon beasts would also be more formidable. However, even if a second-order monster beast appeared, it was unlikely to pose a threat to them now. In the billowing mist, occasionally a demon beast would emerge, but they were mostly killed by a few punches from Lu Pingan. Like this, 3 days passed. Boom! Through battle, Lu Pingan had nearly fully digested the accumulated spiritual medicines in his body, and his cultivation level had directly broken through to the 9th level energy refinement. Although not all the spiritual medicines he consumed could increase his cultivation level, most of them had that effect. So even without deliberate cultivation, as the spiritual medicines were digested and built up, his cultivation level naturally broke through at this moment. Congratulations, elder brother, on breaking through to the 9th level energy refinement. Lu Chuanzhen saw this and smiled, congratulating him. It's all stacked up with spiritual medicines. Lu Pingan showed a bittersweet smile. If others knew he had consumed spiritual medicines worth tens of thousands, only to improve this much, they would certainly scold him for wastage. Heh, the heavenly and earthly treasures belong to those with virtue. It does not matter if they're stacked with spiritual medicines. But elder brother, when you return home, you need to refine your spiritual power a lot to solidify your foundation. Wait until there is no further progress in the foundation of your spiritual power, and then prepare for foundation establishment. Sir, the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Chuanzhen said to Lu Pingon. Previously, Uncle Chu Chang'e had come and spoken to him about various cultivation knowledge. One of the things he mentioned was that the foundation was of utmost importance. If you didn't lay a solid foundation in the early stages, you would later need to spend tens or even hundreds of times more to make up for it, such as the Dao Foundation in the foundation establishment stage, the Golden Core in the core formation stage, and the Nascent Soul in the nascent soul stage. Right, I know. Lu Pingon nodded. Although he was far ahead in terms of body refinement, he knew that the foundation of cultivation was the true path, determining how far he could go in the future. There are still many top-tier techniques at home. Elder brother should try a few. Maybe there's one more suitable for you than the purple true solar scripture. Lu Chuanzhen continued. His own previous cultivation method had also been the purple true solar scripture. Before, the purple true solar scripture, being an exquisite level cultivation method, was indeed not bad. But from his current perspective, it seemed somewhat lacking. When it came to foundation establishment and core formation, this method would severely hold Lu Pingon back. Right, okay, I'll ask father. Lu Pingon felt a warmth in his heart and nodded with a smile. Initially, he practiced the purple true solar scripture because the results of his sword technique were unsatisfactory, so he picked up this cultivation method. Now, hearing what Lu Chuanzhen had said, he planned to ask his father for advice about the 100 Refinements treasure body art, and also to see if he had any suggestions. Amid their conversation, Lu Pingon plucked the nearby spiritual medicine, casually bled and dissected the demon beast's body, placed the valuable materials into his storage bag, and continued towards the mountain summit. Source: Web Novel. Com, updated on Novlove. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 970. Demon Tree Seed, Your First Love Has Been Attacked. Chapter 970, Chapter 347. Demon Tree Seed, Your First Love Has Been Attacked. One day later, the two were about to reach the summit, when they saw a cave ahead. Such caves usually contain rare heavenly and earthly treasures. Of course, they also tend to harbor danger, often occupied by fierce demon beasts. Chuanzhen, stay behind me and be careful, Lu Pingon called out to his younger brother before striding towards the cave. Lu Chuanzhen nodded, not intending to overreach. This was how the two had traveled thus far. After they entered the cave, they hadn't walked far before they heard intense fighting noises coming from ahead. Someone's already here. Lu Pingon, hearing the commotion, shook his head and gestured for Lu Chuanzhen to leave. Big brother, the sounds seem a bit off, Lu Chuanzhen commented, his expression growing tense. It seems like a massive brawl, very intense, Lu Pingon remarked after listening carefully. He felt that at least 10 or more people were fighting, not just a skirmish between 2 or 3. With so much activity, it must be something out of the ordinary, probably a collective action by an immortal sect here, Lu Chuanzhen said, his eyes narrowing. He had observed the area outside the secret realm briefly before. Apart from the 4 great immortal sects bringing 20 to 30 disciples each, the others had at most 10 people. So the battle at hand was definitely a collective combat of an immortal sect. Since we're here, might as well see what's going on, it won't affect us. Besides, if the Purple Shadow secret realm opens again in the future, we could record the details and report back to the family, Lu Chuanzhen said. His eyes narrowed at the sound of the fierce battle, suggesting this plan. Hearing this, Lu Pingon helplessly nodded in agreement. Is this a demon tree? The two reached the end of the cave and immediately saw a basin ahead. This basin was very peculiar, surrounded on all sides by jagged rocks. And in the center of the basin stood a purple giant tree almost 10 to 12 meters thick. The tree was covered in cracks, exuding a vast and ancient aura, like a colossal pillar supporting the heavens, connecting the earth and sky, standing more than 30 meters tall. The huge canopy, similar in color to the mist of the Purple Shadow secret realm, was hazy and obscured the sky, making it difficult to discern clearly. At this moment, 8 disciples from the Heavenly Sword sect dressed in sword cultivator attire were fighting fiercely with this demon tree. The ground was ravaged by thick tree roots, like earth dragons, constantly attacking these sword cultivators. Besides that, there were all kinds of bizarre-looking demon beasts. These beasts didn't seem alive but appeared to be controlled by the demon tree, with plant roots bursting out of their bodies as they fearlessly attacked the Heavenly Sword sect disciples, creating a very intense battle scene. So this is what happens when a tree turns into a demon. Both Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjin were greatly shocked upon seeing the demon tree. It was not only their first time seeing a plant become a demon, but also their first time seeing such an enormous piece of wood, a tree demon, making them feel very insignificant. However, as shocking as the scene was, they could see that this type of tree demon, compared to other demon beasts, had a clearly fatal weakness. Unable to move and fearful of fire, it could only wait for its demise. Even though the plant demon was very powerful, possessing second-rank strength, it had no choice but to face a dead end against the combined assault of the Heavenly Sword sect cultivators with their flames ablaze. A second-rank plant demon. To become a demon, this tree must be no ordinary one. It must be of the heaven and earth spiritual plant grade. Lu Chuanjin said thoughtfully, looking at the massive tree demon in the basin. He had previously heard from his mother about the heavenly longevity technique. He knew that under his father's arrangement, his mother had already started cultivating this technique. But he wanted to procure a third-rank heaven and earth spiritual plant as a future safeguard for his sister, Lu Caijin. Because unlike himself, his sister wasn't that interested in cultivation on a regular basis. Even after consuming a heaven-replenishing elixir and advancing her spiritual route to 5th grade, she only put in effort for a while before sliding back into laxity and playfulness. As a brother, although he wanted to say something, he understood that his sister's temperament really wasn't suited for the cultivation world. Even with diligent cultivation, her prospects would be limited. So he thought of preparing a heaven and earth spiritual plant for her as a fallback for the future. Seeing the tree demon now, he couldn't help but be tempted. CTH Novel Fire. Net ** website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. But realizing the sheer size of the tree demon, Lu Chuanjin knew it would be impossible to take it away. He continued to look for seedlings around the tree demon, hoping to find one. But despite looking all around, he saw no seedlings. Lu Chuanjin exhaled lightly, ready to turn and leave. But then he noticed his elder brother staring at a Heavenly Sword sect female cultivator with slender eyes and crimson lips, a clear face, a high ponytail, and an air of vibrant heroism. Lu Chuanjin naturally remembered her. She was his elder brother, Lu Pingan's first love. Although the female cultivator had considerable strength, with a 9th level energy refinement cultivation level, she seemed somewhat hard-pressed under the assault of the tree demon's roots and a demon beast. Big brother, why not play the hero to save the beauty? Lu Chuanjin teased. The tree demon is already showing signs of defeat. Lu Pingan shook his head and said in a low voice. With the current situation, it wouldn't make a difference whether he went to help or not. Besides, stepping forward to help without reason might seem hard to explain. Just then, Lu Chuanjin suddenly noticed a Heavenly Sword sect disciple, having slain a demon beast and cremated it with fire. A purple, crystal-like seed flew from the ashes into the hands of the disciple. What's this? The seed of the tree demon? His eyes narrowing in thought. He whispered to Lu Pingan, Big brother, did you see the seed that appeared after the beast was burned to ashes? Source, web novel. Com, updated on Novlove. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 971. Demon Tree Seed, Your First Love Has Been Attacked. Chapter 971. Chapter 347. Demon Tree Seed, Your First Love Has Been Attacked. Seed, are you talking about that purple, crystalline object? Lu Pingan said in astonishment. I suspect that it's the seed of a tree demon. Father has a cultivation technique named the Heavenly Longevity Technique, which can refine a heaven and earth spirit plant into a life-bound spiritual root. Lu Quanzhen's eyes narrowed slightly as he spoke softly. Xianxia, you mean? Lu Pingan immediately understood what his brother meant. Upon hearing the effects of the Heavenly Longevity Technique, he too felt a surge of astonishment and thought the cultivation technique was quite miraculous. Whether it's the tree demon's seed or not, I think we should grab a few and take a look. Didn't Father instruct us before that if we come across any rare spiritual medicines or heaven and earth spirit plants, we should bring them back? If that purple seed really is the tree demon's seed, it would definitely be a huge gain. Lu Qianzhen said lowly, looking at the situation ahead. All right. Lu Pingan looked at the several bizarre demon beasts fighting ahead, preparing to make a move. With his current combat prowess, seizing a few demon beasts from the fray would not be difficult. But perhaps because his first love was on the battlefield, he felt somewhat embarrassed to make a move and reluctant to raise his hand. Sha sha sha. The purple demon tree suddenly shook, its canopy rustling loudly and mist swirling. Numerous purple leaves fluttered down, slashing towards the people of the Heavenly Sword sect. Xiu xiu xiu. The leaves whirled chaotically, brimming with intent to kill. The trunk of the tree demon had already been completely set ablaze, and at this moment, it appeared to be in its death throes. Facing the flurry of purple leaves, Qin Yi moved her flying sword, creating a net of sword qi. But her demon beast opponent's body suddenly exploded, countless tendrils appearing and whipping towards her, sending her flying with coughed blood from her mouth. Big brother, stop hesitating. Lu Qianzhen called out, urging him to stop being indecisive. Your first love is getting beaten up. Upon hearing his brother's urging, Lu Pingan hesitated no longer. His footing spurred him forward, his entire being like a streak of golden light, bursting forth and appearing in front of Qin Yi in an instant. Following that, his blood surged, and he raised his right arm and delivered a powerful punch onto the bizarre demon beast, completely exploding its body. Who is this man? This scene left Qin Yi and several other disciples from the Heavenly Sword sect shocked. They had taken notice of Lu Pingan and Lu Qianzhen earlier. But in such a situation, they couldn't spare the attention to care for others. Moreover, they were confident that these two couldn't interfere with them. But now, seeing Lu Pingan punch a demon beast to death, they couldn't help but be dumbfounded. They secretly thought, where did this loose cultivator come from, with such astonishing fighting strength? I'm only interested in the seeds within the body of these demon beasts and won't vie for your other spoils. Lu Pingan said to everyone. As he spoke, he seemed to feel that it wasn't quite right and worried they wouldn't believe him, so he continued, as a reward, I can help you deal with this tree demon. Thank you. Sar the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. At that moment, Qin Yi got up from the ground, wiping the fresh blood from her lips, and expressed her gratitude to Lu Pingan. It's no trouble at all, no need to thank me. Lu Pingan said, somewhat awkwardly. He then searched the crushed body of the demon beast in front of him and found an oval seed about the size of a thumb, emanating a purple, crystalline luster. He pocketed the seed and once again took a step, his entire body shooting out like a cannonball and striking another demon beast, his punch shattering its body into pieces, astonishing the sword cultivators on the field. It was known that sword cultivators were famous for their attacking prowess, claiming to be second to none in terms of aggression. Yet the demon beasts they had been struggling to slay were now effortlessly pulverized by Lu Pingan's mere punch. After annihilating several demon beasts, Lu Pingan directly launched himself towards the tree demon. Boom boom boom. Punches like the drums of gods and demons pounded against the demon tree, thundering loudly and causing wood chips to explode. Facing such an onslaught, the demon tree swayed rustlingly, the ground trembled, and thick root tendrils like that of an earth dragon appeared, whipping through the air and smashing towards Lu Pingan. Yet, Lu Pingan, faced with this aggressive attack, neither dodged nor evaded, meeting it head-on, swinging his fists, causing those roots to burst apart. The already crumbling demon tree soon fell silent under Lu Pingan's assault. Adjacent to the action, Qin Yi, with her expression cold, watched Lu Pingan's silhouette. The more she watched his way of fighting, the more familiar it seemed. Frowning, she felt an increasing sense of familiarity. She once knew someone who fought just like this. Moreover, the movements, gestures, and silhouettes of the two shared seemed remarkably alike. Many thanks to this Daoist for the assistance. At that moment, a cultivator from the Heavenly Sword sect bowed in thanks towards Lu Pingan. Although the disciples of the Immortal sects were arrogant and looked down on loose cultivators, the main reason was still strength. Someone like Lu Pingan, who could explode demon beasts with a punch and burst demon trees with his fists, did not fall into the category they disdained. In fact, some semblance of respect could be seen in their eyes when they looked towards Lu Pingan. Everyone's too kind. Lu Pingan bowed in return. We have yet to ask for your name, Daoist, and where you come from? A Heavenly Sword sect disciple curiously inquired, wanting to know Lu Pingan's identity and origin. In Ping, just a loose cultivator. Lu Pingan reported the alias he was using for this trip. Hearing the name, Qin Yi slightly furrowed her brows, her expression turning somewhat peculiar as she looked towards Lu Pingan. That's because the name bore a resemblance to that of an old acquaintance of hers. She stepped forward towards Lu Pingan to express her gratitude again. Thank you for your assistance just now. The lady is too polite. Lu Pingan said with a smile. Noticing her poor complexion, he took out a bottle of healing pills from his storage bag and handed it to her. I have some healing pills here. Lady. Qin Yi, upon hearing Lu Pingan's address and this gesture, didn't reach out to take the pills but instead looked at him with a furrowed brow, saying, I feel like you're somewhat familiar. Have we met before? Lu Pingan's heart skipped a beat, not expecting Qin Yi to be so perceptive. He immediately explained that he had been cultivating in the mountains all along, fighting with demon beasts day in and day out, and seldom went out. It's just a feeling that you seem familiar, as if I've seen you before. Qin Yi continued to look directly at Lu Pingan as if trying to discern something from his face. I see. Lu Pingan was slightly taken aback, then smiled and nodded his head, bowing to everyone present. Since the matter is resolved, I bid you all farewell. Lu Pingan. Qin Yi, witnessing Lu Pingan's Jianghu-like demeanor and actions, felt an increasing sense of recognition and directly called out loud. The nearby Heavenly Sword sect cultivators were taken aback by this, as if recognizing something different in the situation. Lu Pingan, feeling as if he had been struck by heavenly thunder, stiffened. Then he turned back and said, My name is Ping, the lady must have mistaken me for someone else. Upon hearing this, Qin Yi's eyebrows raised, her eyes clear and incisive, she looked at Lu Pingan's retreating back and said directly, Whether you're Lu Pingan or not, if you happen to meet him, you can tell him that Qin Yi has joined the Heavenly Sword sect and he can write to her if there's anything. Although Lu Pingan had no spiritual root and was unable to cultivate, her instincts told her that this person was Lu Pingan. Lu Pingan sighed inwardly upon hearing this, not sure of how to respond. But with the thought of his own spiritual root or the lack thereof, he eventually stepped forward, leapt up, and returned to Lu Quanzhen's side at the cave entrance, whispering softly, Let's go. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Novlove. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 972, The Secret Realm Ends. Come to the Heavenly Sword sect within 10 years. Chapter 972, Chapter 348, The Secret Realm Ends. Come to the Heavenly Sword sect within 10 years. Big brother, it appears that Miss Qin has always remembered you. Lu Chuanjin and Lu Pingan walked out of the cave and he spoke up. Although he hadn't come forward just now, he had overheard their conversation. He knew that the woman named Qin Yi had recognized his elder brother. Although his brother's disguise techniques were only average, making it easy for flaws to be spotted, the fact that they hadn't seen each other for many years and she could still recognize him immediately under these circumstances meant the memory was deep and the affection extraordinary. Lu Pingan nodded. He naturally knew he had been recognized. He guessed it was probably his fighting style, the way he addressed the lady, and the act of giving her elixir medicines that felt familiar to her and made her spot the flaws, thus prompting her to speak out and test him. Then came the moment she called out his name, and his mental spirit faltered, effectively an indirect admission. Sigh. Thinking about these things, Lu Pingon sighed deeply, feeling he had been far too careless and his state of mind was still lacking. Since that's the case, why didn't Big Brother admit it? Lu Chuanjin said so. Lu Pingon shook his head, but didn't reply. Is Big Brother worried he might bring trouble to our family? Lu Chuanjin narrowed his eyes and continued. Although Lu Pingon had attained such prowess only after over 10 years of cultivation, which was astonishing and could potentially bring trouble to Bai Lake Mountain, he felt the reason was not so simple. Didn't Father say sometimes we ought to be bold? And this Miss Qin probably doesn't know about our family situation, right? Lu Chuanjin said so. Forget it, Chuanjin. Lu Pingon patted his hand, signaling him to stop. I'm sorry, Big Brother. Lu Chuanjin nodded, understanding that his elder brother might have other serious matters difficult to discuss, which made it inappropriate to recognize each other. The reasons are something Father probably understands. Lu Chuanjin narrowed his eyes, thinking of the words outside the secret realm where their father had encouraged Lu Pingon to boldly pursue, as if he had anticipated all this. He didn't think much about this aspect and planned to discuss it later with their father. After all, having spent time with Lu Pingon these days, he had grown to appreciate his responsible and committed big brother. He didn't want his brother to harbor any regrets in his long life. Lu Pingon and Lu Chuanjin continued to search Purple Shadow Mountain for heaven and earth spiritual materials. It might have been that many people had already visited the summit at this time and the more conspicuous spiritual medicines had been picked, so they didn't harvest much. Thus, as their time in the secret realm neared its end, Lu Chuanjin took out the family token from the storage bag, infused it with spiritual power, and sent a message to Lu Qingshan, preparing to rendezvous and hand over the spiritual medicines. After a moment, the token responded, and the two tokens formed an invisible force, resonating from a distance. Let's go, Big Brother, to meet with Qingshan. Lu Chuanjin said to his elder brother. All right. Lu Pingon nodded in response, very curious about this sibling he had never met. After all, he had asked Lu Chuanjin several times whether they should meet with Lu Qingshan. But Lu Chuanjin had said that this brother, despite seeming easygoing, was actually quite proud. The purpose of this trip to Purple Shadow's secret realm was for self-improvement. Together, they might hinder and delay each other's progress. So, Lu Pingon had not contacted him until now. Using the tokens, they spent about a day before they saw Lu Qingshan, who had starry brows and a grand demeanor, dressed in a Jinyang sect magical robe, and holding a golden magical sword. 17th brother? Lu Qingshan looked toward Lu Chuanjin, raising his brows as he greeted him. Then his eyes shifted toward Lu Pingon, wanting to know who he was. As a sword cultivator and due to his mastery of sword heart clarity from training in sword charging bull's might, his insight was sharply honed. He could faintly sense that Lu Pingon embodied a fierce beast-like physique. Just standing in front of him felt like facing a brewing volcano, ready to erupt at any moment, giving him an inexplicable sense of danger. Qingshan. Lu Chuanjin nodded and greeted, his hand gently brushing his face, removing the disguise. Then pointing to Lu Pingon beside him, he smiled and said, This is our big brother, Lu Pingon, whom you've not met since you've been away. Tia the novel and Fu. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Qingshan, hello. Lu Pingon also removed his disguise and smiled as he introduced himself. Then he sized up Lu Qingshan before him. He had glimpsed this younger brother from a distance outside the secret realm before. But now, in close proximity, seeing the sharp and unparalleled spirit of Lu Qingshan was still a bit surprising. Because previously, among the disciples of the Heavenly Sword sect, he had not sensed such a fierce and soaring sword chi. This sword chi, seemingly emanating from his very bones, made him understand what a true sword cultivar was. His brother, it seems, would be recognized as an extraordinary sword cultivator wherever he went. Big brother, Lu Pingon? Although Lu Qingshan had never met Lu Pingon, he still knew of this elder brother. He hadn't expected that the person before him, who gave him a sense of danger, was actually his own big brother. Wasn't his big brother without a spiritual root, sent away in the mundane world since young? Lu Qingshan didn't think further and looked at the Lu Pingon before him, his lips curving up slightly into a smile. He bowed and said, "Big brother, nice to finally meet." After briefly catching up, Lu Qianxia took out a prepared spirit plant bag, saying, "Qingshan, as the secret realm is about to end, I'm going to take this batch of spiritual medicines and give them to you to take out. Otherwise, big brother and I going out might draw attention and cause trouble." Lu Qianxia spoke thus. This matter had already been discussed at home between the two. Source: web novel. Com, updated on Novlove. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 973, The End of the Secret Realm. Come to Heavenly Sword Sect within 10 years. Chapter 973, Chapter 348, The End of the Secret Realm. Come to Heavenly Sword Sect within 10 years. He had not anticipated that this journey into the secret realm would yield such riches. Good. Lu Qingshan nodded in agreement, accepted the spirit plant bag, and with a cursory sweep from his divine sense, his eyebrows suddenly rose in surprise and bewilderment. "Seventh brother, it seems like you and our eldest brother have made quite a haul this time." The loot inside was not much less than his own. Moreover, this was just part of the spoils for Lu Qianxia and Lu Pingon. However, considering Lu Quanzhen's strength and having such an elder brother who gave him a sense of danger, such achievements seemed reasonable. After all, with their strength, as long as they did not encounter groups of immortal sect's disciples, they were practically unrivaled. Hee, just a bit of luck? Lu Qianxia said with a laugh, sharing some of the situations inside the secret realm with Lu Qingshan. Before this, he had regarded the Purple Shadow secret realm as a very dangerous place. But it was only after truly entering that he realized the realm was indeed dangerous, but the danger was limited. Search * the Nellfire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Or rather, when your combat power reaches a certain level and you do not fear the slaughter between cultivators, then the danger of the secret realm becomes quite low. For example, for him, there was a certain danger. But for someone like Lu Pingon with his combat power, as long as he did not court death, there was hardly any danger. One could only say that, no matter what, the Purple Shadow secret realm was still just a realm for energy-refining cultivators. After chatting casually for a while, the three of them found a place to wait for the end of the secret realm. After all, to continue exploring at this time was unlikely to yield any major discoveries. To hope for a major discovery, one would have to snatch it from somebody else's hands. But at this point, most loose cultivators and small family clans already hid in the outer regions, waiting for the secret realm to end, avoiding the last bit of greed. Outside the Purple Shadow secret realm, the secret realm is almost at an end. Lu Changsheng opened his eyes and looked toward the altar's center, a calm void portal. A month had gone by since the secret realm had opened. Through the system, he knew that all his three sons were safe and sound. And his eldest son, Lu Pingon, had broken through to the 9th level of energy refinement. This pleasantly surprised him, and he was eager to know what fortuitous encounters his son had had in the secret realm. At this moment, besides Lu Changsheng, many cultivators waiting outside turned their eyes to the void portal in the center of the altar, the nascent soul immortals of the 4 great immortal sects. Everyone was eager to know the state of their own family members, what gains they had made. An hour later, open! The nascent soul immortals from the 4 great immortal sects came to the central altar with dignified expressions, took out their purple gold tokens in front of the portal, and infused their nascent soul-level mana into them. Hum hum hum. In an instant, the previously unrippled void portal suddenly filled with an ancient and time-worn aura, forming a black hole vortex in the middle. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In no time, figures began flying out of the portal from the secret realm. Lu Changxing immediately saw his son, Lu Qingshan, emerging from the portal on a flying sword. His face was stern, his figure erect, and he stood proudly upon the flying sword, unscathed, which made Lu Changxing inwardly nod with approval. As time passed, more and more cultivators came out of the secret realm. It was noticeable that most loose cultivators were not faring well. They were either seriously injured or in a state of mental and physical collapse, with pale faces and chaotic auras. As for the disciples of large family forces and immortal sects, most were in much better condition. However, there were still quite a few in poor shape. Lu Changxing even saw a few cultivators faint on the spot as soon as they left the secret realm, barely clinging to life. Meanwhile, the 4 great immortal sects began to collect spiritual medicines. The 4 nascent soul immortals had their disciples bring smell spirit beasts to inspect everyone's storage bags to ensure no private hoarding of spiritual medicines had taken place. Lu Qingshan, as long as you agree to one thing for me, I'll waive your contribution from this trip to the secret realm. At this moment, Yujin Jinren, seeing Lu Qingshan stepping forward to deposit his spiritual medicines, spoke out. His smell spirit beast had detected a bountiful supply of spiritual medicines in Lu Qingshan's storage bag and spirit plant bag. But compared to these medicines, he valued Lu Qingshan as a person more. He wanted to use Lu Qingshan as a whetstone to sharpen his own sect's disciples. Lu Qingshan looked surprised, thinking to himself if such a good deal existed. He then bowed and asked, "May I ask, what does the immortal wish?" His storage bag and spirit plant bag contained no ordinary loot. If he could avoid making a deposit, it would be a fortune. "Just promise to come to my Heavenly Sword sect for a competition after you've achieved foundation establishment within the next 10 years, said Yujin Jinren, dressed in a simple white robe, his face stern, speaking plainly. Is it that simple? Lu Qingshan was momentarily taken aback. He had already been considering challenging the Heavenly Sword sect. And now, Yujin Jinren was willing to waive his secret realm contributions for such a small matter. He did not agree immediately. Looking up at his master, he wanted to know if the true words of this immortal had any other implications. "This matter is for you to decide," said Tianyuan True Immortal with a slight nod. Hearing this, Lu Qingshan immediately bowed. "Thank you, Immortal. Once I achieve foundation establishment, I will surely come to the Heavenly Sword sect to fulfill our agreement within the next 10 years. Good. Yujin Jinren nodded and didn't require him to swear an oath against the heart demon, simply signaling that he could leave. Thank you, Immortal. Lu Qingshan once again bowed his thanks, then controlled his sword to his master's side. The nascent soul immortals from Qingyun sect, Luoxia sect, and Spirit Taming sect, witnessing this scene, said nothing. After all, since Yujin Jinren had spoken, they naturally did not dare to offend him. Besides, Tianyuan True Immortal was watching. For them to speak out at this time would appear petty. Naturally, they would not do something that would offend someone for no reason, deciding instead to be gracious. Source: Web Novel. Com, updated on Novlove. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 974. The End of the Secret Realm. Come to Heavenly Sword Sect within 10 years. Chapter 974. Chapter 348. The End of the Secret Realm. Come to Heavenly Sword Sect within 10 years. Yujin Jinren, other true immortals. Tianyuan bids farewell. After speaking a few words with Lu Qingshan, Tianyuan True Immortal bowed to Yujin Jinren and the others. He then placed Lu Qingshan on his gourd, transformed into a divine rainbow, and skyrocketed into the 9 heavens gang wind. Damn it, who exactly is it? At this moment, on the huge divine vessel pulled by the 9-headed wind thunder steed, the elder ancestor of the Su family watched the cultivators continuously emerging from the secret realm, his expression gloomy and ugly. Since all the soul plates in his family's storage bags had shattered and his own descendants had all died in the secret realm, he had been observing the 4 great immortal sects and other major nascent soul family forces. But through his observation he noticed that although other families had suffered casualties, they were not severe and were similar to previous years. This puzzled him greatly. He didn't know who had killed his family's descendants. It should be noted that the descendants of their beast-taming Su family were always accompanied by spiritual beasts, had combat power far superior to others of their level, and were not much worse than the disciples of the immortal sects. Thus, regardless of which power made a move against his family, a fight to the death on both sides would inevitably result in significant losses. Yet among these top-tier powers, the spirit-taming sect, which suffered the most, had only 7 deaths. The spirit-taming sect and my Su family have always had good relations. Even if they are reluctant to see my Su family rise, they would definitely not be the first to strike against us. Patriarch Su pondered in his heart, dismissing the possibilities one by one. Patriarch Su, how come I haven't seen any of your family's disciples? Could they all have perished in this secret realm? At that moment, the family patriarch from the Shangguan family looked at Patriarch Su and jokingly said. However, as much as he spoke in jest, he was quite surprised to see that not a single descendant of the Su family had emerged from the secret realm. Because among these top-tier powers, such a situation had not occurred for many years. Patriarch Zu's face darkened as he snorted coldly and remained silent. Seeing this, the false core patriarch of the Shangguan family immediately stopped teasing. After all, if the descendants of the Su family had truly all died in the secret realm, a few provocative words might actually provoke Patriarch Su into a fight. And if they started fighting, he was really no match for Patriarch Su. Could it be that it wasn't the Immortal sect forces who acted? Was it simply danger within the secret realm itself? Patriarch Su frowned deeply, pondering in his heart, feeling that this was the only explanation. But he himself didn't believe in this explanation. Because the Purple Shadow's secret realm, having been open for nearly 1,000 years, was now used as a training ground, and there was supposedly nothing particularly dangerous left inside. Could it be loose cultivators? A ridiculous thought crossed Patriarch Zu's mind. He immediately shook his head, dismissing the idea. After all, how could a loose cultivator possibly have the ability to kill off all his family's descendants? Damn it! Sir, the novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Patriarch Su felt irritable and annoyed, then out of sight, out of mind, he rode away on the 9-headed wind thunder steed. At the same time, Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjin emerged from the secret realm. The two queued up to hand over the spiritual medicine. With the smell spirit beast present, no one dared to secretly keep any spiritual medicine. Everyone adhered to the rules. If anyone was found to be hiding rare spiritual medicine, they wouldn't be executed on the spot as a warning, but they would be reduced to mining slaves. So much. 2 loose cultivators actually had such a harvest. The supervising disciple from the Wuxia sect was somewhat surprised and puzzled when he saw the pile of spiritual medicine. Although Lu Chuanjin had given most of the spiritual medicine to Lu Qingshan, but the remaining spiritual medicine was still considered exceptional among loose cultivators. However, they didn't say much about this. After collecting half and checking that there was no must-trade spiritual medicine, they let the 2 men go. Father. Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjin approached Lu Changxing. Although his 2 sons had changed their appearances with disguise and camouflage, Lu Changxing still recognized them at a glance. He patted their shoulders, smiling and said, "It seems that you both had a good harvest this trip." "Indeed, not bad," Lu Chuanjin said with a smile. "All right, let's talk about the details of the harvest when we get back." Lu Changxing spoke, taking out a spirit boat from the storage ring. The palm-sized spirit boat surged with green light and instantly transformed into a small boat more than a yard long, taking his 2 sons back with him. As for Lu Qingshan, he had just spotted him returning with Tianyuan True Immortal. And he had also seen that Lu Qingshan had apparently said something to the True Immortal of the Heavenly Sword sect, as he didn't hand over any spiritual medicine. He couldn't help but marvel internally at the power the nascent soul immortal had personally delivered him, earning some respect even from the 4 great immortal sects. Just as Lu Changxing was piloting the spirit boat, taking his 2 sons home, Patriarch Su felt more and more aggrieved, feeling utterly humiliated. and to return in such a manner without any explanation. Wait a minute. At that moment, Patriarch Su remembered that on his trip here, he had bestowed a spiritual artifact, the Black Dragon Shears. This Black Dragon Shears was forged from his early years of slaying a Black Jiao, forming an entire set of spiritual artifacts. Although this set had already been bestowed one by one, he still had the Black Jiao Demon Core refined into a Black Jiao bead left in his hands. As long as the Black Dragon Shears were not far from him, and not lost within the Purple Shadow secret realm, he could sense their location through the Black Jiao bead. If it's in the hands of an Immortal sect disciple, I could just claim the spiritual artifact back. Patriarch Zu's eyes gleamed, murmuring to himself. At this point, he didn't care about losing face anymore, because this incident had already caused him to lose face completely. Soon, when this matter would spread, even the other families would ridicule his beast-taming Su family. Thus, this matter must be resolved. Patriarch Su held a fist-sized, pitch-black treasure bead in his hand. He made a gesture incantation with his hands on the Black Jiao bead and then spat a mouthful of essence blood on it, attempting to sense the location of the Black Dragon Shears. Patriarch Zu's eyes emitted a sharp light as he looked towards the southwest direction. He not only sensed the location of the Black Dragon Shears, but also noticed that they were moving rapidly. Isn't it the 4 great immortal sects? Then who is it? Patriarch Zu's expression turned cold. Immediately, he rode the 9-headed wind thunder steed as swiftly as lightning, rolling towards the direction where the Black Dragon Shears were located. Source: web novel. Com, updated on Novlove. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 975. False Core Immortal, Nothing Special. Chapter 975. Chapter 349. False Core Immortal, Nothing Special. A spirit boat emanating an azure radiance passed through Ziyun Gorge. Atop the spirit boat, Lu Changxing, clad in a mystic robe, stood tall and slender as he listened to his son, Lu Chuanjin, recount the journey through the secret realm. He knew not only had Lu Pingan gained a promotion, but Lu Chuanjin also reaped no small rewards. With a now far more solid foundation, he could return and consolidate his gains, preparing to tackle foundation establishment. Chuanjin, did you encounter monks from the Jin family? Lu Changxing asked aloud. He had seen foundation establishment cultivators from Golden Dragon Ridge leave in a huff and knew that all 6 Jin family members had perished in the secret realm, suspecting his sons were involved. This wasn't our doing, brother and I. Lu Qingshan was the one who encountered the Jin family, Lu Chuanjin said. They had discussed it with Lu Qingshan earlier and learned of the Jin family's misfortune. Thinking to himself that the Jin family was indeed unlucky. Otherwise, he and Lu Pingan might not have run into the Jin family's monks at all. Qingshan. Lu Changsheng's brow rose in surprise, not expecting that it was his son, Lu Qingshan, who had single-handedly slain the monks from the Jin family. It seemed Lu Qingshan's abilities exceeded what he had known. After all, repelling 6 people and killing 6 people were not the same concept. Father, I reckon it won't be long before people come to know of Qingshan's deeds, and the Jin family might connect this to our family. Lu Chuanjin looked towards Lu Changxing and said. Lu Qingshan's actions had been highly conspicuous, leading Lu Chuanjin to realize that sooner or later his younger brother's information would gradually come to the knowledge of other family forces, and they would remember. If the Jin family learned that Lu Qingshan was a son of the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family, they would surely suspect and speculate on this matter. Yet what truly worried him was not this. Another Lu Qingshan had now emerged in the family. If in a few years Lu Pingan came into his own, then Lu Wangshu, or perhaps some younger siblings he didn't yet know about, began to rise, it was likely his family would entirely enter the public eye, attracting a lot of trouble. Because no power would willingly watch a family with several geniuses exist. Such a family, once allowed to grow and rise, would be truly terrifying. Heh. What could the Jin family possibly do even if they find out? Lu Changxing said unconcernedly. He had instructed his sons to act thus without fear of how the Jin family might respond. Already, the two families had been tripping each other up behind the scenes, just never bringing the struggle out into the open. Even if the Jin family came to know, they could only swallow their frustration. As father and son conversed, Lu Changsheng suddenly felt a dreadful spiritual pressure approaching. His brows knitted together, and he looked suddenly to the side. "Father, what's wrong?" Lu Chuanjin, seeing his father's expression, looked in the same direction. But he saw nothing. However, shortly after a few breaths, he saw rolling, surging mist up ahead, accompanied by the sounds of thundering wind. As the commotion within the mist grew louder, Lu Quanzhen's complexion drastically changed. "Damn, that's the beast-taming Su family." Earlier, outside the secret realm, Lu Chuanjin had seen the commotion of several nascent soul-level family forces arriving. Among them, the beast-taming Su family made quite a spectacle, a divine vessel pulled by 9 second-rank Windthunder steeds, traversing with thunderous momentum and overwhelming the skies, a truly formidable display. The commotion from afar was exactly like when the Su family had arrived at Purple Shadow's secret realm. Thus, Lu Chuanjin instantly realized that this was most likely the beast-taming Su family coming to cause trouble for them. Why would the beast-taming Su family come after us when I've destroyed every token, keepsake, and anything suspicious from the Su family's storage bags, throwing them off a cliff? And I've even used a second-rank purification talisman to inspect my whole body and found no trace of any marks. Lu Chuanjin was inwardly alarmed, utterly at a loss as to why the elder ancestor of the Su family would track them down. But in this moment, there was no time left to ponder. The approaching figure of the elder ancestor of the Su family was drawing ever nearer. Pulled by the galloping 9-headed Windthunder steeds, a tsunami-like, terrifying spiritual pressure rolled in, churning mightily, making the air seem heavy and hard to breathe. "Father, my brother and I have slain all of the beast-taming Su family's disciples in the Purple Shadow secret realm. This commotion is most likely from the beast-taming Su family. The family patriarch must be coming after us." Lu Chuanjin had an ugly look on his face as he conveyed this through a transmission to his father. Under such circumstances, he naturally did not dare to hide anything from his father. Lu Pingan, too, watching the cloud-engulfed and thunderous 9-headed Windthunder steeds charge towards them, had a grave expression. He hadn't expected that they would attract the wrath of the false core patriarch of the beast-taming Su family. Slain all of the beast-taming Su family's disciples? Lu Changsheng was taken aback when he heard this. He thought to himself, what a wild turn of events. He had been wondering why this family patriarch from the Su family was rushing toward them with such a menacing air. So it turned out that the Su family's cultivators were all wiped out by his own sons, and now revenge was at hand. "Father, this family patriarch from the Su family must have used some method to track down my brother and me, but you should be able to escape using talismans." Several talismans appeared from Lu Quanzhen's sleeves as he spoke urgently. Although rumors suggested that his father could slay false core immortals with talisman formations, he knew those were messages spread by Golden Dragon Ridge, deliberately glorifying their family. Therefore, facing the elder ancestor of the Su family, he had not the slightest thought of resistance. His first reaction was to scatter and escape with the use of talismans provided by Lu Changsheng. Only in this way, there was a chance that all three of them would not die here. He felt a pang of regret that Auntie Lu Miaoge wasn't here. Otherwise, his father and aunt working together might be able to contend with the elder ancestor of the Su family. See the novel, Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Source, webnovel.com, updated on novlove.com. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 976, False Core Immortal, Just That. Chapter 976, Chapter 349, False Core Immortal, Just That. Father. Lu Pingan's talisman also appeared in his hand, his face set in a resolute expression as if ready to face death. It's okay, leave it to your father to handle. Lu Changsheng looked at the expressions of his two sons, smiled, and patted their shoulders, signaling them to be calm. This time, the elder ancestor of the Su family's attack should serve as a lesson for his sons. He wanted them to understand that there are always greater powers and more skilled individuals in the world. Facing high-rank cultivators, especially those from powerful clans, one must be extremely cautious and careful. Moreover, his two sons were now grown up and on the verge of attaining foundation establishment, so it was time they learned some of the family's secrets. He handed the control of the spirit boat over to Lu Chuanjin. Then he looked at the 9-headed wind thunder steeds and the elder ancestor of the Su family charging fiercely towards him, took a step forward, and stepped off the spirit boat to meet them. "Father!" Lu Quanzhen's expression conveyed great shock as he cried out, thinking that Lu Changxing was trying to buy time for the two of them. "Chuanjin, believe in father." Lu Pingon pressed down on his shoulder, speaking in a deep voice. He had immense trust in his own father. Believing that if his father dared to do so, he must certainly have confidence. How bold of you, seeking death." Standing on the majestic divine vessel, the elder ancestor of the Su family saw Lu Changxing standing in the void with a stern face and a composed aura, clad in a mystic robe, and immediately glared with anger, directing the wind thunder steed to charge straight at him. This 9-headed wind thunder steed was not just any beast bred by the Su family for pulling carts. It was a beast he had carefully raised, capable of tremendous battle power, used for travel, and each of them was incredibly strong. The leader of the beasts had been with him for hundreds of years, possessing the strength of a second-rank late stage. With such a charge, even a cultivator at the peak of foundation establishment would be directly killed. Roar, roar, roar. The 9-headed wind thunder steed immediately let out unison roars, surrounded by swirling winds and thunder, like a mighty army charging forward, carrying a sky full of wild wind and thunder, crushing through the heavens, and charging straight towards Lu Changxing. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just then, a clear sword whistling sounded throughout the heavens and the earth. Suddenly, a giant sword, tens of meters long and shimmering with the light of the 7 colors, appeared above Lu Changxing's head, bursting with endless fierce sword chi, threatening to obliterate everything as it slashed down ferociously. Boom, boom, boom. The violent storm of wind and thunder collided with the overwhelming giant sword descending from the sky, instantly creating an earth-shattering explosion. Bright mana light tore through the skies, and the waves of power from the battle's epicenter spread like raging seas, sweeping in all directions and stirring up huge waves. Such residual waves caused the nearby spirit boat, with Lu Chuanjin and Lu Pingon aboard, to rock like a leaf in a tempest, nearly overturned and swallowed by the giant wave. Fortunately, a majestic and gentle breeze of mana came forth, dispelling the waves of power. What? Father's strength. Lu Chuanjin and Lu Pingon, witnessing the scene, were shocked and looked at each other in dismay, their eyes filled with disbelief. They had never expected their father to be so powerful. Especially Lu Chuanjin. He had always known that his father concealed his true strength and was not as simple as he seemed. But this was way beyond what had imagined. He could actually face off against a false core immortal head-on. Could it be that during the battle on White Tiger Mountain, when he faced the great elder of the Jin family from Golden Dragon Ridge, was he merely toying with his opponent? Elder Su, you come here with such aggression, may I inquire as to the reason? Lu Changxing, in his mystic robe, stood with his hands behind his back in the void, looking at the approaching elder ancestor of the Su family and asked calmly, "Who are you? You know of my beast-taming Su family and yet dare to oppose us so." The elder ancestor of the Su family, although surprised by their brief clash, still had an aggressive demeanor as he shouted loudly. "Me? I am simply a loose cultivator, sending my children to the Purple Shadow secret realm for training." Lu Changxing responded thus. "Very well, you won't tell me? A mere foundation establishment cultivator dares to be so insolent before me. Once I capture you, I will make you spill everything." The elder ancestor of the Su family glared with fury, his voice cold as he spoke. He had already decided that Lu Changxing was from some top-tier power, deliberately provoking to gauge his family's situation. In the midst of his speech, his pupils flashed with purple-blue thunder light. Roar! A beast's roar echoed through the heavens and earth. Strands of purple-blue thunder light spread from the Qi ocean core of the elder ancestor of the Su family. A ring-shaped magic artifact with swirling winds and thunder appeared above the elder ancestor's head. This ring, called the Thunderstorm Ring, was the life-bound magic treasure of the elder ancestor of the Su family. Although it was a low-quality magical treasure, after many years of his sacrifice, combined with the 9-headed wind thunder steeds, its power was astonishing. Even if Lu Changsheng before him seemed out of the ordinary, capable of being a false core immortal, he was utterly unafraid. After all, as a member of the beast-taming Su family who commanded spiritual beasts, he was already among the best in his own rank. Boom! At the moment when the elder Su ancestor brought out his magical treasure, Lu Changsheng had already taken the initiative to make a move. He knew that today's matter could not end well, and he had to fight. 9 treasures Rui Bone, Spirit, Qi and Mind. Lu Changsheng immediately activated the 3 divine skills contained within his life-bound treasure bone. The runes on his breastbone intertwined, bursting with brilliant light, enhancing his physical body, mana, and divine sense intensely, roaring like a tsunami. In an instant his figure, as he shot forward, seemed to grow a few inches taller. At the same time, countless purple-red fiery flames spread from his radiant body and charged ahead to confront the elder ancestor of the Su family. Sar the Oval Fire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Roar, roar, roar. The 9-headed wind thunder steeds howled towards the sky, emanating waves of wind and thunder, which filled the air. But before Lu Changsheng's demon god-like figure, the 9-headed wind thunder steeds were directly sent flying by a brutal impact and screamed in pain as they were burned by the raging dragon flame. What? No good. The elder ancestor of the Su family saw Lu Changsheng directly use brute force to knock away his 9-headed wind thunder steeds and approach him. His expression slightly changed. Source: Web novel. Com, updated on Novlove. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 977. False Core Immortal, Nothing Special. Chapter 977. Chapter 349. False Core Immortal, Nothing Special. He hurriedly performed a gesture incantation, his life-bound magic treasure, Thunderstorm Ring, bursting with luster. It formed walls enveloped in wind and thunder, standing in front of him. Yet, at this very moment, Lu Changsheng, bolstered by the 9 treasures Rui Bone, seemed like a true dragon awakening from his usual dormant state. It was like a primeval volcano erupting, an oppressive presence at its most tyrannical, his vital energy shooting to the heavens, creating smokes and flames that threw the world into chaos. Pu. Under the god and demon-like physical might, the Patriarch Zus' 9 wind and thunder walls were instantly fractured into pieces and dissipated like smoke. Patriarch Su, as a false core immortal, I wonder if you can handle a few moves from Lu someone. Lu Changsheng's eyes, with purple-gold flames burning within his pupils, exuded a domineering and eerie aura. A sea of flames formed around his body, with a purple-red thunder dragon coiling around him, his voice resonating mightily. Not good. Could this person be a third-order body refiner? Patriarch Zus' face was filled with horror. The idea of retreat surged in his heart as he quickly shouted, "Daoist, please stop." However, Lu Changsheng had already made his move. A golden fist, accompanied by a roaring purple-red thunder dragon, came straight at him, so bright that it filled Patriarch Zus' eyes. Pucci! With the punch, as profound and abyssal as prison itself, accompanied by the hot and tyrannical thunder gang dragon flame, instantly shattered and melted Patriarch Zus' body-protecting magic barrier. Then, with a burst of golden light, the punch, overflowing with endless thunder flames, directly smashed the false core immortal's physical body, leaving a gaping hole in his chest. Patriarch Su, his expression filled with shock, looked at Lu Changsheng before him, a sense of unprecedented despair rising in his heart. Sizzling. The next moment, the raging and ferocious thunder gang dragon flame evaporated Patriarch Xu's blood, reducing his physical body to charred remains. Is this it? Lu Changsheng eyed the easily dispatched Patriarch Xu with a sense of unreality. Too weak. Truly too weak. Such strength, even without the use of the 9 treasures Rui bone, he could have easily crushed his opponent. However, it was precisely the blessing of the 9 treasures Rui bone that rendered the false core immortal powerless before him. Whether it was the 9-headed wind thunder steed, the effects of magical treasures, or the body-protecting magic barriers, all seemed too fragile to withstand a single blow. False core immortal is merely so, Lu Changsheng said indifferently. He raised his hand and collected Patriarch Xu's inner core, storage ring, and treasures into his pouch, then turned his gaze towards the 9-headed wind thunder steed. Roar, roar, roar. The 9-headed wind thunder steed, seeing its master dead, roared furiously towards Lu Changsheng. Upon seeing this, Lu Changsheng did not hold back, blasting all 9 heads of the steed to their demise. Indeed, the 9-headed wind thunder steed was quite remarkable. Not only could it serve as a combat power but also as a means of transportation. But the steed had clearly been kept by Patriarch Xu all along, making taming it quite troublesome. Even if it were tamed, he currently could not use it before others, only to be raised slowly. Yet, the expenditure for keeping a second-order monster beast was not a small overhead. It was better to just kill it. Having accomplished this, Lu Changsheng collected the carcasses of the 9-headed wind thunder steed into his storage bag. The flames around his body gradually dissipated, and the terrifying spiritual pressure receded like the tide, as he returned to his own spirit boat. At this time, Lu Pingon and Lu Chuanjin on the spirit boat were still dumbfounded, motionless. It was too astounding. The scene from just now was simply too shocking. A single punch. Defeated in an instant? My father defeated a false core immortal with 1 punch. The brothers were utterly bewildered, at a total loss for words to describe their current feelings. It was beyond their wildest dreams. CTH Novelfire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. They knew their father was formidable and usually kept his skill hidden. But they never imagined it to this extent. And wasn't their father's greatest strength supposed to be the talisman path? How could he be so ferocious in body refinement? And that intense, overbearing, and incredibly violent purple-red flame. Even after the fight was over, they could still feel a wave of scorching heat in the air. As cultivators, one should remain unfazed even if the sky dome collapses before them and remain calm even if dragons and phoenixes appear behind them. If you get worked up over such trivial matters, how will you achieve greatness in the future? Lu Changsheng looked at his 2 sons acting this way and calmly instructed them not to make a fuss. The 2 brothers looked at their father. You call this a trivial matter? But upon reflection, what their father said didn't seem wrong. After all, a battle resolved with a single punch was indeed a trivial matter. Certainly, when Patriarch Xu had come to attack, their father had remained calm and assured, indicating that he was in control. What father says is true. Lu Pingon immediately showed an embarrassed expression, accepting the lesson. He believed his mindset was indeed insufficient. During the confrontation with Qin Yi in the Purple Shadow's secret realm, his mentality was shaken. And just now, he had been stunned into inaction. Such distractions could cost one their life in a fight to the death. Lu Chuanjin was still a bit muddled and only nodded without speaking, because he truly did not know what to say. The shock of the situation was too great for him, finding his father a bit unfamiliar. It was hard to imagine that his father, with a low-quality spiritual root and usually lazy demeanor, possessed such astonishing battle strength and force. After we return home, I will explain to you. Lu Changsheng, seeing that his sons were still troubled, patted their shoulders and spoke. Then, he steered the spirit boat and transformed into a beam of escape light, flying swiftly into the mountain range on the right. They had just left Ziyun Gorge not long ago, and it was easy to attract the attention of others with the recent noise. Therefore, he had to find a place to reorganize and check the situation to avoid being targeted. Shortly after Lu Changxing left, several figures looked over in this direction. What just happened? Such a formidable display of power, could it be nascent soul immortals fighting? Why did the battle end so quickly? I think I saw Patriarch Su just now. Patriarch Su left in a hurry earlier. It seems that all the clan cultivators died in the secret realm. Could it be related to this? Beast-taming Su family is one of the top-tier forces in Jiang country's cultivation realm. How could such a thing happen? Could it be targeted by the 4 great immortal sects? Daoist friend, you shouldn't say such things. After a few whispers, several Foundation establishment cultivators did not dare to linger longer and quickly left. After all, they had just exited Ziyun Gorge and felt a frightening pressure ahead. They passed by to take a look, not wanting to get overly involved. Source: Web Novel. Com, updated on Novlove. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 978. Men are inherently tough, but gentle as fathers. Chapter 978. Chapter 350. Men are inherently tough, but gentle as fathers. Dragon Head Mountain. The mountain towered mightily, with a range of peaks stretching on, as if a real dragon lay coiled across them, gazing down over the vast land and leaving onlookers in dread. At the foot of the mountain, an immense stone stele stood 100 meters tall. Carved into it were the forceful and vigorous characters, beast-taming Su family, exuding an air of grandeur and an ancient aura. This was the main residence of one of the 3 great cultivator families of Jiang country's cultivation realm, the beast-taming Su family. For thousands of years, the Su family had not only a core formation old ancestor at its helm but also third-order spirit beasts to underpin its heritage, commanding the renowned water serpent Dao soldiers and fire crow Dao soldiers across the cultivation world of Jiang country. Their strength was unquestionable and not something ordinary family forces could compare with. At this moment, in the Su family ancestral hall. Pfft. An elder from the Su family, responsible for guarding the hall, was startled by a sudden sound of a flame being extinguished from within. He entered the ancestral hall in a frantic state to investigate. Direct members of the Su family, the core descendants, were each equipped with a lifebound plaque. Once they broke through to Foundation establishment and became part of the upper echelons of the family, their lifebound plaque would be upgraded to a lifebound lamp. With this, not only could one ascertain if the lamp's owner was alive or dead, but one could also sense their life force through the lamp. A flickering lamp, like a candle in the wind, indicated that the person was in a state of crisis, and one could take the lamp to their aid. The Su family elder entered the hall where the lamps were displayed and at first glance, did not see any extinguished lamps. However, facing this situation, he felt no joy. His face turned pale as he slowly looked toward the high platform where the lamps were situated. The first layer, the second layer, the third layer. His face grew paler with each ascending layer he observed, and when he saw a lamp on the 3rd layer extinguished, he felt as though struck by lightning, his face ashen, nearly collapsing to the ground. This is the ancestor's lamp. How could this be? The elder was overwhelmed, disbelief filling his eyes. Thinking his vision failed him, he looked again and again. Once sure the lamp was truly extinguished and their elder ancestor had perished abroad, he let out a pitiful cry, sounding the bell to notify the family. In the depths of the Kangmeng mountain range, Lu Changxing had finished cleaning out the storage bag of the elder ancestor of the Su family. Aside from spirit stones and several top-grade spiritual instruments, there weren't many precious treasures. Well, it seems that this elder ancestor of the Su family had probably spent all his possessions on this thunderstorm ring and the 9-headed wind thunder steed. Lu Changxing shook his head and sighed as he looked at the thunderstorm ring in his hand. A false core immortal like the elder ancestor of the Su family wouldn't possibly have afforded a 9-headed wind thunder steed if he hadn't been born into the beast-taming Su family. After all, nurturing spiritual beasts was akin to burning money. The Blackwater Jiaolong Dao weapon, 9 netherhound, and 6-winged golden silkworm that he had asked Hong Lian to help him raise had all consumed vast amounts of resources. Not to mention the elder ancestor's 9 second-rank wind thunder steeds. Under these circumstances, unless the other party had just engaged in plundering and killing like Xiaohua had once done, they wouldn't normally have much wealth on them. Lu Changxing dealt with all the suspicious items, pocketing the magic treasure thunderstorm ring into his storage ring. Such life-bound magic treasures would see their power decline by several folds once refined by others. Moreover, if the attributes of the cultivation method did not match, they couldn't unleash much power at all, making it very superfluous and only suitable as a gift for one's children. As for the most precious thing aside from the treasure, it'd be this inner core, right? Lu Changxing examined the false core he held in his hand, belonging to the elder ancestor of the Su family. He had not yet come across the inner core of a false core immortal. By appearance, it should have been a third-order demon pill. However, after being condensed into a false core by the elder ancestor of the Su family, the entire pill looked marred and discolored, with an aura completely different from the true elixir of Nangong Meili. No wonder it's called a false core. By the looks of it, unless it's the same exact cultivation method used by the Su family elder ancestor, it's probably unusable by anyone else. After inspecting it for a moment, Lu Changxing put the core into his storage ring, planning to ask his walking encyclopedia, Hong Lian, for advice later. Then he turned to check on his 2 sons. Search * the novel fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. After a while, he identified the problem with the black dragon shears. The elder ancestor of the Su family must have used this spiritual artifact as a primer to sense your presence, Lu Changxing spoke out. He hadn't found any markers on his sons but noted that the aura of this black dragon shears resonated with the same source as a flood dragon pearl from the elder ancestor's storage bag. Therefore, he deduced that the elder ancestor must have used some method to sense the location of the spiritual artifact and followed it to them. So, does this mean we can't casually keep any spiritual artifacts on us in the future? Hearing his father's words, Lu Pingon looked at the black dragon shears before him and scratched his head. Ordinary spiritual artifacts should be fine. Lu Changxing chuckled and continued. This spiritual artifact was clearly forged by an artifact refining master using rare materials, so remember to be extra careful when encountering such top-grade spiritual artifacts. However, this time it was just that the Patriarch Su happened to be outside the secret realm. Usually, even if the spiritual artifacts can sense each other, there's a distance limitation. Most of the time, as long as you're separated by thousands of miles, sensing them becomes quite difficult. Lu Changxing slowly explained. This kind of method was similar in principle to sensing talismans and identity tokens. Once the distance exceeded 1,000 miles, even if the other party was a nascent soul immortal, it would be very difficult for them to sense anything unless they paid a great price. Dad, we understand? The 2 of them nodded, quickly grasping the concept. Furthermore, on some magic artifacts, bloodline spirit bands will be refined in to prevent outsiders from refining them for use. If someone rashly tries to consecrate them, they'll trigger the prohibitions and methods within. So you must be extra careful with powerful artifacts you get from clan cultivators in the future. Source: Web Novel. Com, updated on Novlove. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 979. Men are inherently tough, but gentle as fathers. Chapter 979. Chapter 350. Men are inherently tough, but gentle as fathers. Lu Changxing continued to instruct. In the cultivation world, snatching magic artifacts not only often led to ones that were ill-suited for oneself, but also could contain various dangerous traps. Among the spiritual artifacts he had obtained previously at White Tiger Mountain, 2 of them contained bloodline spirit bands. However, the effects of the bloodline spirit bands from White Tiger Mountain were quite mediocre. It only made it difficult for others to unleash their full power, making them only suitable for members of the Zhao family. Dad, does this pair of scissors have a bloodline spirit band? Upon hearing this, Lu Pingon immediately asked. This one doesn't. Bloodline spirit bands, although they prevent outsiders from refining, can also impact the artifact's full potential. Moreover, as descendants' bloodlines become diluted over time, the effectiveness of the bloodline spirit bands would also be compromised. Hence such bands are seldom applied except in family heirloom treasures. If you encounter such artifacts in the future and aren't sure about them, just find a black market to exchange them for money, but you must be very careful not to attract attention during the process. Lu Changxing advised aloud. After packing up everything and getting ready, Lu Changxing didn't continue to stay in the mountains. He switched to a spirit boat and said to his two sons, "Let's go. Regarding the matters of today, you should keep my cultivation level to yourselves and absolutely not disclose it." "Dad, I understand." "Father, your son understands." Lu Pingon and Lu Chuanjin nodded in response. After the three of them boarded the spirit boat, Lu Chuanjin, watching his father's tall figure, had numerous thoughts swirling in his head. Still pondering what exactly his father's situation was. Was it a case of a nascent soul true lord reborn through body snatching, or was it a reincarnation of some great being from legends? Besides these reasons, he really couldn't think of any others for why his father, in his 50s, would possess such astonishing strength, able to kill a false core immortal with a single punch. Moreover, he had also recalled something after coming to his senses. His father had used a sword technique when facing the elder ancestor of the Su family. The aura of that sword technique was fierce and dominant, somewhat similar to that of his brother Lu Qingshan's sword Dao. Then regarding body refinement, it was exactly like his older brother Lu Pingan's, only even more straightforward and dominant, returning to the basics. So, did Big Brother inherit father's body refinement? Did Qingshan inherit father's sword Dao? Did Wang Shu inherit father's talisman path? Lu Chuanjin thought to himself, quite confused. The previous meeting with Uncle Chu Chang'e had broadened his horizons, making him think he had seen a more expansive world. Yet now, his father's actions had completely baffled him. "Chuanjin, if you have something to ask, just speak up, otherwise I see you holding back uncomfortably." At this moment, Lu Changxing turned back and smiled at his son Lu Chuanjin. His divine sense was sharp, naturally noticing whenever his son glanced at him, clearly troubled. "My child is just curious, father. You possess such strength. Why do you continue to hide it so deeply?" Lu Chuanjin hesitated, not knowing where to start. After thinking, he chose a simpler question to ask. "Men should naturally be firm, but I choose to be gentle." Lu Changxing smiled lightly, looking at the mountains below spread out like stars in the sky, and softly said, "In the cultivation world, all beings are struggling. They fear neither heaven nor earth, only those who live differently from themselves. If you are too weak or too evil, they will destroy you and trample you. If you are too good or too strong, they will bully and fear you. Only by being just like everyone else can you be accepted by the world and live peacefully. If my strength were known to the world, endless troubles would surely find me. Even if I weren't afraid, what about you? So, to live peacefully and freely in the cultivation world, one must disguise oneself just like everyone else." Lu Changsheng's voice was gentle as he spoke slowly. After finishing, he smiled, patted his son on the shoulder, and said, "You will gradually learn more about your father's affairs in the future. Just remember, I am always your father, the everlasting support behind you. So if you have any problems, just discuss them directly with me." Although Lu Changxing was disguised at that moment, his appearance much more imposing, such words still conveyed a familiar gentle tone to the brothers. "Father, I understand." Lu Chuanjin responded with a smile, no longer pondering or fretting. After all, whether his father was a nascent soul true lord reborn or some legendary great being reincarnated, it did not affect their father-son relationship. His cultivation, care, and protection for them were all genuine. Furthermore, the more powerful the father, the more direct benefits to him as a son. Though he was self-reliant, he was not an old-fashioned person. When it was time to lean on his family, he would. "Dad, I understand." Lu Pingon nodded earnestly. Since the incident with the Hope Goo, Lu Changsheng's figure had loomed like a high mountain in his heart. By the way, Dad, I've broken through to the 6th level of the 100 Refinements treasure body art, but I feel like there were some issues during the cultivation process. Sir, the novel fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. At that moment, Lu Pingan spoke up, seeking Lu Changsheng's advice on his cultivation technique. A problem with cultivation? Tell me. Lu Changsheng immediately showed a concerned expression. The details of the 100 Refinements treasure body art were extremely important. Even slight mistakes in the cultivation process could cause body issues. It happened in the secret realm when I took a lot of spiritual medicines, and as a result, a thin membrane formed between my muscles and bones. I suspect this has something to do with my breakthrough to the 5th layer before. Lu Pingan spoke, revealing his situation to Lu Changsheng. May I see? Lu Changsheng held his son's wrist, channeling his mana and divine sense into his body to check. A moment later, after seeing the thin membrane Pingan mentioned, his brows furrowed slightly before smoothing out. Source: web novel. Com, updated on Novlove. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 980. Men are inherently tough, but gentle as fathers. Chapter 980. Chapter 350. Men are inherently tough, but gentle as fathers. Lu Changsheng thought to himself that his son's opportunity was indeed fortuitous. This was one of the divine skills of the 100 Refinements treasure body art, which Lu Pingan had mastered on his own without a teacher under the autonomous operation of the cultivation technique. This is all right, it's a technique and magical powers accompanying the 100 Refinements treasure body art, which I haven't taught you before. This must be when you had a breakthrough to the 5th level earlier, where the cultivation technique automatically operated, allowing this divine skill to begin its initiation. Then, with the nourishment of a vast amount of heaven and earth spiritual material, it acquired a few characteristics of the divine skill's effect. Lu Changsheng said so. As an orthodox level cultivation technique, the 100 Refinements treasure body art naturally had other techniques and divine skills besides the treasure bone technique. Like the thin membrane inside Lu Pingan's body, it's called 100 Refinements battle armor. Once refined, it could spread the membrane out, forming an armor around the body. If not displayed on ordinary days, it would stay inside the body like a keratinous membrane, enhancing bodily defense. Divine skills? Both Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjin were startled upon hearing this. After all, only nascent soul immortals could cultivate and master divine skills. Now that they heard about Lu Pingan's initiation into divine skills, how could the two not be surprised? Yes, divine skills, but it only possesses a few characteristics of the effect. To truly refine this divine skill, there is still a long road ahead. Lu Changsheng spoke, saying thus. He could see that the others seemingly had this trait by a fluke of chance. The true small achievement of divine skills was still a great distance away. Moreover, to condense this 100 Refinements battle armor, it's unknown how many resources and heavenly and earthly treasures it would require. After we return home, I will pass the techniques and divine skills of the 100 Refinements treasure body art to you. During your cultivation process, if you have any other issues, speak them all out. Lu Changsheng continued to speak. Immediately afterwards, Lu Pingan voiced all the issues and confusions he encountered during his cultivation. During this, Lu Changsheng nodded slightly as he heard his son talk about the fist technique that opens mountains. He thought to himself that his son indeed had some comprehension in body refinement and martial path. After the 5th level of the 100 Refinements treasure body art, one could gradually cultivate the body parts towards magical treasures, condensing a type of effectiveness. This mount-opening fist technique of Lu Pingan was based on this principle. Except, his situation was a shortcut. He did not condense his own technique and divine skills, but by condensing a magical treasure within the body, leveraged a trace of its power effect. However, as Lu Pingan spoke, Lu Changsheng only then realized that this son had the strength but lacked a severe understanding of how to use it, and just like his own old father, didn't even possess a single suitable magic artifact. Once we return home, they'll solve this for you. Lu Changxing said boldly with a grand gesture of his hand, planning to teach the techniques of the 100 Refinements treasure body art to Lu Pingan once back home and then tailor several spiritual artifacts for him. After all, he had no capability to forge magical treasures, but with his current fame as Master Lu, requesting others to forge a few spiritual artifacts was not a big problem. Once Lu Pingan breaks through to Foundation establishment and has spiritual artifacts, he could situate himself in White Tiger Mountain and start utilizing the spirit land there. As the father and sons idly chatted, the spirit boat swiftly flew toward by Lake Mountain. Meanwhile, in the beast-taming Sioux family, a mighty disturbance swept over the entire Dragon Head Mountain. Fierce beasts roared, shaking the void. The family patriarch has come out of closed-door cultivation. Previously it was said during the Beast Tide incident, the family patriarch was gravely injured and went into secluded cultivation, with strict instructions not to be disturbed unless absolutely necessary. How soon it has been that he had to come out. This incident must involve someone deliberately targeting our family, hence the family patriarch had to step in. Not only the family patriarch, but the aura of the Earth Dragon Beast is also present. Countless members of the Sioux family sensed this aura and were extremely alarmed. Many high-level members immediately understood and spoke with trembling voices. Check immediately, see which force is responsible. This old man isn't dead yet, and they dare to mess with my Sioux family. The voice of the elder ancestor of the Sioux family thundered like rolling thunder, with the roars of thousands of beasts suppressing a burst of rage as he spoke towards the Sioux family high-level officials. This closed-door cultivation of his had only lasted 10 years, and such an incident in his family naturally made him extremely angered. At your command. The high-level officials of the Sioux family were terrified and shivering. Instantly, the entire beast-taming Sioux family sprung into action, because this was not merely a matter of the death of one false core immortal, it also concerned the face and dignity of the beast-taming Sioux family. 1 month later, Lu Changxing, Lu Pingan, and Lu Chuanjin returned to Bai Lake Mountain. He directly took his 2 sons to the summit of Blue Cloud Peak. After all, it was time to tell them about some matters regarding the Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven. Moreover, both Lu Chuanjin and Lu Pingan were preparing to break through to Foundation establishment, and he planned to have both men break through in the Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven. Follow me. Lu Changxing led the 2 toward the summit. The 2 brothers looked at each other. This summit of Blue Cloud Peak was a familial forbidden area, shrouded in clouds and mists all day, something they had never experienced before, yet now their father was bringing them here. Before long, the 3 arrived at the summit of Blue Cloud Peak. As the inverted 5 elements formation opened, a tall and prominent Mount Sumeru tree king appeared before the 2, glistening with gold and jade. This is... Both could tell that the tree before them was no ordinary one. However, Lu Chuanjin immediately noticed that, aside from this tree, there was no residence to be seen on the entire summit. This is the Mount Sumeru Tree King, our family's sacred tree of stabilization. Lu Changxing pointed at Mount Sumeru and spoke. Mount Sumeru Tree King, the sacred tree of stabilization? The 2 looked at the Mount Sumeru Tree King before them, desiring to know why this tree was considered their family's sacred tree of stabilization. However, Lu Changxing did not explain and pointed to a rather inconspicuous tree next to Mount Sumeru, speaking towards Lu Chuanjin. Chuanjin, this is the auspicious tree that your mother used to cultivate the heaven and earth longevity technique. As his son already knew about the heaven and earth longevity technique, he naturally would not hide it. Auspicious tree? Lu Chuanjin was taken aback, observing the auspicious tree before him. This name was chosen by your mother, so you are certainly unfamiliar with it. Lu Changxing smiled and said, Father, is the heaven and earth longevity technique unpracticable without a spiritual root? At this moment, Lu Pingan suddenly looked at Lu Changxing and asked. Upon hearing this, Lu Changxing paused for a moment and then gently shook his head. He understood what his son meant by his words, but without spiritual power, it was impossible to refine heaven and earth spiritual plant, S.E.A. the Nephire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Pingan pursed his lips, his expression somewhat heavy as he nodded. Mount Sumeru. Lu Changxing softly called out. Instantly, a golden portal appeared before them. The two brothers saw the golden portal before them, both stunned, for the portal reminded them of the gate to the Purple Shadow's secret realm. Could it be that their family owned a secret realm? Go in, Lu Changxing patted their shoulders and spoke. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible.